Well, well, well. I've done 2 videos today, did 1 rant this morning, and imagine that. Back. I am back with another rant. I joked around earlier that I may have another rant coming depending on what big news stories hit today. And sure enough, on a Friday afternoon, something hit. You know, this console wars or whatever you want to call it, fictional console wars has just blown my mind. You have adults, you have grown men, getting upset, getting their panties in a bunch over reviews. And I can't tell you how many times I've been saying to people, if you like a game, that's all that matters. If you don't agree with the review, that's fine. You have every right to be, critical. You have every right to, question the review. What you don't have a right to do is harass the person doing the review. You don't have the right to belittle them because you don't agree with the score they gave to a game on your platform of choice. Now, I just want to say something because I've heard this a lot and I'm going to address this. And I've seen this mostly on the Xbox side of the community where they say, oh, well, Xbox exclusives don't get scored as high or don't get reviewed as well as PlayStation exclusives. And to that, I'll say this, a little food for thought. You know, games aren't games don't get review scores based on the platform that they're on. You know, games don't get poor scores for being on an Xbox exclusive. It just doesn't happen. You know, a good game is going to receive favorable reviews or good scores. A bad game is not. That's just life. Those are facts. Like any other form of art or entertainment that gets reviewed, this isn't something that's new, something that's trivial. It's fact. And so for the life of me, I can't understand why people are still getting upset over things like this. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Now, Shannon Loftis, she's the GM Microsoft Studios Publishing, and she went on Twitter today. And took some issues to Ryan McCaffrey's um to his uh to his review of Super Lucky Tales, which came out recently. And the game has not been reviewed very favorably. There's some issues with the controllers, with the camera. Uh, it's just not a. It's just it doesn't seem like it's a good game. And she has since taken this tweet down, and I actually did quote this tweet on my Twitter feed because I was surprised that she even said this. I was surprised because she's a Microsoft executive, and I'm thinking to myself, if you're an executive of a company, you just released arguably probably your most anticipated product. Why would you take to Twitter? Why would you do this? You should be aware of the community and especially on Twitter, how there's, fanboys and there's fanboys on both sides. I'm not necessarily just picking on the Xbox community here. There's individuals on the PlayStation side that are terrible too. Um, there's fanboys on both sides of the fence. And, but I think for an executive to voice the opinion that she did, does more harm than good. I don't think it really. Personally, I think it's unprofessional. I don't. She's. I hope she doesn't become Microsoft Jim Ryan because Jim Ryan always seems to put his foot in his mouth every time he's being interviewed for Sony. Um, but I totally did not agree with this. I thought it was unprofessional. I thought if she had an issue with the review, she probably should just reached out to Ryan McCaffrey. But the other thing too is, look, you're not going to have this problem if you make good games. Yes, and I say this to you, Shannon Loftis, because you guys have not necessarily knocked the ball out of the park this console gen with exclusive content. You've canceled games, you've shut studios down, you just released a $500 console, and here's what you and she has since taken this tweet down, but here's what she said to Ryan McCaffrey. Ryan, I appreciate your review. I thought you made some good points. You don't need to actively discourage people from playing the game, though. Oh, I'm sorry, Shannon. His job as a journalist, as a game reviewer, is to review video games. And part of that review is to make recommendations to people whether or not they should play these games. This isn't anything new to you, Shannon. You've been in this industry a long time. You probably you know the drill by now. You know what's going on. Like, this isn't new. This is what game reviews do. This is what people who review movies do. This is what people who review music do. And I'm going to put you on blast here, Shannon. If you want better media coverage, put out a better product. Put out a better product. You guys have done a great job with the Xbox One X for what it is, for what it can do at $500. It's a good product. It's a much better. It's a much better console than what you guys put out in 2013. And that's great. That's awesome. That should be the focus. None of this stuff. Not tweeting Ryan McCaffrey and telling him that he doesn't need to actively discourage people from playing the game, though. I mean, I read this and I'm shocked. And if I'm Phil Spencer, I'm fuming. I'm fuming. I'm like, I'm losing. I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck are you saying? Why are you tweeting this out into the public? Why are you feeding that console war narrative? Because you know what's going to happen. You know that there's going to be certain podcasts out there, certain fanboys that are going to go out there, they're going to get on their horse, and they're going to beat the drum. They're going to go out there and they're going to say, "See, Shannon Loftis knows the media is biased." So Shannon, you did nothing but cause more harm than you did good, because people are going to run with this now. And I'm not surprised this tweet is no longer available. I saved it on my phone, so I was able to read it to you guys, but it's not up anymore. She took it down, and good. She should have taken it up. She should take it down, but she should have never said what she said. It was way offline. And Ryan, you know what's funny? Seriously, guys, you guys need to leave Ryan McCaffrey alone. It's like when he praises the Xbox, you guys don't say anything. When he doesn't, oh, he's not Xbox enough. And he's been unfairly harassed by fanboys. Look, I've had the pleasure of having Ryan McCaffrey on this podcast. Great dude, great guy, loves video games. I mean, before we went live on the podcast when we had him on, I mean, we were just shooting the shit, talking video games. I mean, just a real nice guy, real stand-up guy, and he doesn't deserve a lot of the shit that you guys give him. And you guys need to grow the fuck up. Seriously, stop getting your panties in a bunch over review scores, over things that are so trivial. That's not what video games is about. Video games are about having fun. I don't know how many times I've had to say this. There's something lacking in your life if you get this upset and you're a grown adult. Seriously, and it's not even funny. It's not funny. Ryan won't even do podcasts anymore because of a lot of the bullshit that's been directed at him. Now, interesting enough, and you'll see this on the screen that I have up right now, Shannon does say, also, folks, lay off Mr. at DMC_Ryan. He works incredibly hard, does great things for gaming and gamers. Okay, Shannon. So now you realize I made myself look like an ass, and I've stuck my foot in my mouth, and I need to um, kind of right the ship here. And I'm glad she said what she said, because a lot of the stuff that was happening in this trade was out of control. And it's let me tell you something. It's pretty bad too when a Microsoft executive has to check the community. Like, that's not good. That's not a good thing. That's kind of a black eye on the quote unquote Xbox community. And it's unfortunate. And that's not the reputation that you guys want to have in the industry. You don't want that. You don't want that. So it was good for her to say that, because, again, it was getting out of control. It needed to be said, but I was shocked. I'm sitting here thinking, like, what the fuck's going on? In one tweet, she's telling Ryan to not do his job. I mean, that's basically what she's saying. You don't, let's think about this. You don't need to actively discourage people from playing the game, though. Shannon, if you put out a bad product and I'm reviewing it, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Save your $60. I mean, this isn't anything new, Shannon. This isn't anything new. I'm just, I think more than anything else, probably just more disappointed by that particular tweet than anything else. You know, I'm going to go to the live chat here. See what we got in the house. We got Chief Tomei, J Street, PSN Down is back, D Truth. What's going on, gentlemen? Long time, right? Long time. I'm just going to go through the comments here, because I know you guys have been commenting. Let's see here. I just, I just was very disappointed by this. I thought it was very unprofessional. I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know what really. I don't know what provoked her to say this to Ryan, but it makes you wonder. Like, do the folks at Microsoft believe that the media is against them? Do they believe that that they can't catch a break? And that's a scary. Think about that. That's scary if they think that, because that's in their heads. Then that's in their heads, and it shouldn't be. They should focus on, hey, how are we going to support this really good console that we just put out? How are we going to do that? What kind of games are we focusing on developing from a first-party perspective? Phil Spencer's been out there. He's already talked about investing in first-party studios, acquiring studios. I mean, that should be the focus. That should be the focus. But this stuff, and I'm telling you, she added fuel to the fire. She added fuel to the fire. So I'm just disappointed. Really disappointed. Thought it was very unprofessional on her part, and doesn't paint Microsoft and the Xbox division in the best light. Now, I know some people are going to say, "Oh, Enrique, you're tripping. It's not that big of a deal." I disagree. I think it's a big deal. I think that as a professional, as a representative of a product, when you interact with the community, you need to act in a professional manner. OBJ in the live chat says, "Wonder what she would have said if he told people to go out and buy it." She wouldn't have said a thing. She would have praised him. And that's the thing. And that's, look, guys, and this is, reviewers do this all the time. And I don't know how what I don't know what Shannon was upset about. I don't know, maybe she's having a bad day at the office. I don't know. But it's just not a good look. It's not a good look. And I think that, it just Microsoft's under the microscope because they're Microsoft. And, they look, they stumbled. Um, they stumbled out of the gate. Stickfigure says, what did he tweet? I'm not sure exactly what he tweeted, Stick. I know um, he deleted some of his tweets too, but if you look back at it, if you go to his review, um, his summary was that Super Lucky's Tale is, and I'll read it. I actually will read the verdict to you guys. He says, it's all such a disappointment. I very much wanted to like Lucky because the Xbox could use a decent answer to Nintendo in the 3D platform genre. Unfortunately, Super Lucky's Tale definitely isn't it. And if you went on Twitter and said, "Hey, you know what, guys, I would recommend avoiding this game, or I wouldn't touch this game," that's his job. That's what he does. If people are asking him his opinion, he's giving it. That's his job. That's his job. I mean, that's what he's there to do. He's not the only reviewer to do it. I mean, this isn't uncommon in media when you're reviewing, when you're reviewing movies, when you're reviewing music. These things are common. The reviewer will make a recommendation. And again, with the Microsoft being on Microsoft with the release of the Xbox One X this week, this is not a good move. This was not a good look for her or for Microsoft, and it just adds fuel to the fire. It's embarrassing. If I was Phil Spencer, I'd be pissed. I would be pissed because in my mind, I'm thinking I'm working my ass off to get this thing turned around. We released a console this week, and this is the narrative that's out there now. This is what people are talking about. People should be talking about the Xbox One X. Stick. I look. He could have been like, the game's a piece of shit. Don't buy it. There's nothing wrong with him saying that. He reviewed it. It's his opinion. Had Ryan gone out there and said buy the game is the best game ever, she wouldn't have been upset. So I mean, it wasn't it just wasn't a good look, regardless of what he said. So this we'll see what happens. I mean, this is going to OBJ says fanboyism starts from the top down. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Yeah, look, and look, guys, this whole thing of people getting upset over game reviews. Stick. I even if it was bad for her to pipe up, um, it's not her place to pipe up. She's a representative of a multi-billion-dollar company. That's a conversation that you have offline. That isn't a conversation that you have on Twitter in public, where there's fanboys, or there's people um, in the tweet or in the thread. You just look. You just don't do that. It's a lack of professionalism on her behalf. There's a time and place to address things. That's not it. That's not it. So I mean, um, I'm just disappointed because I can't remember a time where we've seen anything like this. So, um, so guys, that's my rant for this evening. Stick. This has nothing to do with Microsoft executives being cool. They're real people, not robots. You got to understand something. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. There is protocol. There is a way that you conduct yourself as a professional um, in a professional, in an environment, and that's not what she did. Which is it's not professional. If she has an issue, she can email him. I mean, this. I understand it. Well, no, it's not. It actually no, it's not her company. She's not unless she's a shareholder. It's not. She works for Microsoft. But if she has an issue, you don't take those issues out in public. Because there's a lot of blowback that can happen. And I think you look at that last tweet where she tells people to lay off Ryan, and it's because of the blowback that he was getting from her previous tweet. So these um, look, when you're an executive, you just can't come out and do these things. You just can't. There's a professional manner in which to address these issues. Again, um, I haven't heard anyone, and I've talked to people who were in that thread. No one has said to me that Ryan was saying anything that was, um, you know, totally, um, it's totally inappropriate. You know, um, Stick Figure the Life Chat says they're emotionally invested in the games. I like it. I mean, who isn't though? All of the. I mean, people at Sony are emotionally invested in games. People in Nintendo are, but that doesn't give them an excuse to call people out for doing their jobs, and that's what she did. She tried and tell him how to do his job. Stick. You don't know Ryan McCaffrey. I've actually had the pleasure of talking to him on numerous occasions. He's a real nice guy. He has a great historical perspective of gaming. Has done more gaming than most of us have. And look, you may not agree with him because he doesn't, wave the green flag of Xbox. Um, but yeah, I mean, but he's a good dude. And look, you could sit there and say, yeah, he's a big boy, but you're not in his shoes. You don't know what it's like to be a game journalist and be attacked by people that are adults that are emotionally insecure. It's easy for you to sit there and say, oh, well, he needs to be a big boy. You're not even in his shoes. You don't know, the amount of harassment that he's gotten, death threats that he's gotten over video games, something that he's passionate and loves about, that he loves writing about. I mean, he does this for a living because because it's a passion for him. You know, I mean, yeah, you're right. You said he's a big boy. Stick figure. Apply that same mind frame to the fanboys out there who are crying over pieces of plastic, who are crying about media bias, who get their panties in a bunch, um, over video game reviews. You can't have it both ways. And you know what? I disagree with that. I don't think he sulks. I think that he is a guy that is, um, that takes it on the chin a lot. He's dealing with a community that is at times very unreasonable, easily triggered, and that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. And I'm telling you, those guys, it's a high pressure environment. It's a high pressure industry. It's not an easy industry to work in. It's very competitive. You know, but if you're going to sit there and call him sulky stick figure, you need to say that you need to address, or you need to um, say the same for a lot of these fanboys out there that are getting their panties wet over video game reviews or what they perceive to be media bias. Because you got to remember something. You got people out there that are threatening developers. That look at the guy at Ubisoft who tweeted out his copy of Assassin's Creed Unity for PlayStation 4. You know, stick figure. Her job is not to stick up for the developer of her company. If she shouldn't have to stick up for a developer and her company if her company and the developer put out good products. And that's it. You know, I mean, if you don't want bad reviews, put out good products. It's that simple. It's that simple. And this idea of, and let me tell you something. What's up, Jay Fonzarelli? I hold Microsoft, I hold Sony, I hold Nintendo to the fire because fuck these companies. They take our money. They take our money. They take our money. And you know, we need to hold these companies accountable. I don't care who it is. You know, but if Shannon is gonna, you know, pitch a fit because her game's being reviewed poorly, put out a better product. It's Shannon. It's not up to Ryan McCaffrey or any other reviewer to sell your game. It is your job, Shannon Loftis, to sell your game. It is Microsoft's jobs to sell their games. It's not the media's job to sell games. And I keep saying this, guys, you know, review scores aren't given based on what console a game's on. A good game gets good review scores, a bad game doesn't. And this happens to be a bad game. And Microsoft hasn't had um, a great track record of putting out, you know, some first party stuff. More recently, they haven't. I mean, look, Halo 5 was good. You know, Gears of War 4 was good. Forza's been great. Um, they stumbled upon Cuphead. Um, you know, Ori's great, but Recore wasn't good. You know, no, I don't think stick figure. I don't think anyone's attacking her. I just think that people don't think she's doing a good job at Microsoft. And I'm actually, you know, I like, you know, Jay Fonzarelli and I, we had Jay on a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and you know, Jay and I were talking after the podcast, um, and look, I haven't been excited with her either. She hasn't kind of lit the fire. Um, but you know, this attitude of, you know, we got to hold the media or the reviewers accountable because they're not, you know, showing our games or reviewing our games in the best light. That's bullshit. It's Microsoft's job to do that. It's Sony's job to do that. It's Nintendo's job to do that. It's, again, I'm going to say this again. It is not Ryan McCaffrey's job to sell Super Lucky's Tale. And Jay Fonzarelli, I really hope that that Shannon really didn't compare, um, that she didn't compare Recore to a AAA game. You know, I really don't. And my frustration is that, look, they just had the Xbox One X is a nice console. Mine just came in today. You know, and I play a little bit of Assassin's Creed Origins. The game looks beautiful. But it just, this to me is just like, come on, guys. Yeah, Stick. I agree with you. The people cop the real flack, and the industry developers, and unfairly too. I mean, how many times have we seen the whole lazy dev thing from people who think they know about game development? You know, I mean, it's just mind blowing to me. It, it's mind blowing. And I'll tell you what. I will say this: she did come out, as I said this earlier. She did come out and tell people to lay off Ryan, and she did recognize that he works incredibly hard, does great things for gaming and gamers. I thought that was nice, but I think at that point, you know, the damage had been done. And as I mentioned, you know, her tweet has been, she took that tweet away, the one that I read earlier. Let's see here. Give me a sec here, guys. Send a quick DM out. All right. Hey, Jay, if you can, check your DM real quick, man. All right. So, we have a little bit of a debate going on here in the live chat. Always appreciate a good debate. Yeah, Stick, I get that she loves her company and that game. I get that. But there's a way to approach this professionally, and you just and she didn't approach it right. And that's it. You just can't excuse stuff like that because she loves her company in the game. Um, I mean, it just PSN down says we have fanboys all over the. Uh, all right, Stick Figure. Good seeing you, man. As always, I know we always don't agree on stuff, man, but I always appreciate the debate, man. So thank you for stopping by again. Always a pleasure having you on, Stick. Let's see. PSN now says again, we have fanboys all over the place getting emotional over cars, sports, comics, graphic cards, and consoles. Haven't you seen how riots break out in soccer games? Yeah, I've seen that. That's that's crazy. I don't get that either. Um, yeah, I'll say that, man. Phil Spencer, it keeps it professional, man. I mean, um, I Phil's a good dude. I mean, I've had the pleasure of playing with him on Xbox Live, and just a nice guy. I mean, he really is just passionate about gaming. And it's funny. I remember people giving him a hard time you know, uh, congratulating Sony with stuff, and Shuhei just congratulated them for the release of the Xbox One X. So, and the funny thing is, all these guys are buddies in the industry. They all have a general respect and admiration for one another. What's up, Frankie? Good to see you in the live chat. See, Frankie says, what? The Recore is bad. It's a huge disappointment. Yeah, Recore was yeah, a little bit of a disappointment. Some of those, God, some of those like rock textures were terrible. Long load times. The game's got potential. I mean, I thought it had potential, um, but it didn't. They just couldn't bring it all together, and um, it probably should have been. They probably should have baked in the oven a little bit more. Chris Cover says, "I get emotional if someone disrespects my wife or family, but that's it." Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's something you should get emotional about. Yeah. Hey Jay, I don't know if you heard me earlier, Jay Fonzarelli, but if you can check your oh no, never mind, you did. Okay. No worries, bro. No worries. So um yeah, that's right, Frankie. The first half was good of that game. The last back half was a disjointed mess. That's where I kind of like I was like, you know what, I'm out of here. Couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't do it anymore. We do have some hey, real quick guys, some positive news. Um uh Bungie we're gonna have Destiny is going to be 4K 30 frames a second on the Xbox One X. That's coming. So it looks like there's some more developers announcing patches for the Xbox One X. So that's exciting. That's good. That's good to see that kind of support coming from these third party developers. And look, I think there's genuinely a positive buzz among developers with with patching games for the X, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what else comes down the line. Um, it's funny, Jay. Jay, let me ask you something. Jay Fonzarelli, you said that Shannon Loftis should go. She leave. Um, why do you think she should leave? I'll put that out to you. You can answer that in the live chat. What's up, Innate? Innate says, my thing is why we out here giving participation awards like these dudes ain't grown men. Let the console speak for itself. People seem like they're scared to let this thing stand on its own. Chief Tommy says, I get emotional. McDonald's fucks up my order. All right. Hold on a sec here. Give me a sec, guys. Ah, shit. I love Google Hangouts. so Jay, this is something that you can't do in the live chat then. All right. Folks, give us just a sec. We're gonna be joined here shortly. We have a special guest coming to this BRAP rant real quick. And while we're waiting for the guest to jump in, what's everyone playing right now? What's everybody gaming on? I was actually playing, let's see here. What was I playing? I was playing Assassin's Creed Origins on the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Jay, what is going on, my man?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
All right. Yeah. So it's thanks for the invite. I'm not going to put it out there. I'm not going to tweet out there or anything because I don't want some guy coming in here.
No,
let's just say that. But yeah, man. Shannon Loftis. Look, I don't hate the woman. Like I know Stick was like being real defensive about her and stuff, and I get that some people like what she's doing. I guess I don't understand why, but that's just me. I don't like the game she tends to like, and Recore wasn't for me. She did in an interview just recently say that she compared Recore to a AAA game, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, like out of touch a little, you know. I don't know. To me, I just think that when I say she needs to go, it's because I don't think she's doing the job well enough. I really don't. I think that she needs to be bringing in more big games here. Not the Recores, we don't need Lucky Tales. We need some games on the Xbox that are really pushing the system. We need games that, like, you know, the Halos, the Gears, things like that, but a new IP, something fresh. Sort of like a Horizon Zero Dawn that, you know, came out of nowhere for the PlayStation. That was an amazing thing to come out and really surprise people, and it became a great game. So we just need things like that over there. And I know it comes down to having first party developers and things like that, but at the same time, I think the direction the company's going with all the interviews that I've been watching and hearing, like, haven't you noticed that they're talking more about going the way of, say, a Steam box in the future? I mean, they're talking about service-based games. They're talking about multiplats, multiplayer games.
Yep.
They're talking about things that I personally don't like, that sort of direction. And it could just be me. I could be in a small minority of gamers, but for me, I like to have my single player experiences. I like to have my big stories, and, you know, I love those PlayStation single player experiences. Love them. And I would love Xbox to have things like that too. I would love for them to have a Naughty Dog. I mean, it would be amazing to have. And I just see them being sort of more like PC like, and that's why I see them going that route. I see them going down that lane. It seems like that's where they're headed, man. I don't know what you think, but it just seems that way to me. It seems like they're sort of forgetting about the first party stuff. And I know they said recently that they're reinvesting into first party, but at the same time, that's a broad statement, and you have to understand that it could be AA games, could be indie games. People just don't. I think that these AAA games that people are expecting, these new big AAA new IPs, is going to be. I think they're going to be few and far between. I think we might get one every year, maybe one every couple of years. Who knows? But for the most part, I think it's going to be smaller games. I really do. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't. I kind of I agree with you in that regard. When Phil Spencer came out and said, "Hey, we're looking at acquiring studios and investing in first party," I'm thinking to myself, well, just based on what I've seen so far from Microsoft, the whole Scalebound thing and shutting down studios and canceling Fable, I was like, okay, he's probably looking, with the release of like Cuphead and Ori, those games aren't necessarily expensive games, but they're making money off them, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what does that mean? And based on what I've seen from them, I'm thinking it's probably going to be something on a much smaller scale than a big AAA, first party game. I think they're done with that. I agree with you, Jay. I think they are heading towards that Steam box scenario. Mm-hmm. Microsoft is trying to position itself as a company where you can have Microsoft on all your devices.
Yeah. And
I don't think the Xbox is immune from that.
It's funny that you agree with me on that, because every time I listen to you rant, man, I always see myself in you. Every time you rant, I'm like, yes, I feel the same way about this. And that's what I love about these rants. But at the same time, it's like, somebody in your chat had a great point. Innate. He said the thing about Horizon Zero Dawn is that you're taking you're talking about a big risk and cultivating in-house talent and trust. Microsoft has tried for years to just buy stuff. You don't get a Naughty Dog like that. That while that is true, I have to say they had Bungie at one point in their pockets. Bungie wanted to take a risk. They didn't let them take that risk, and that risk is now a multi-million-dollar selling freaking game on every on all the platforms now. Basically, essentially, it's amazing to me that Microsoft has always been about not letting their studios take risks. I say, why not? Why not let the Gears of War team try something else? Why not let Bungie stay there? If they would have done that, they would have had Destiny on their platform exclusively. And how much of a selling point would that have been for the Xbox One? It would have been amazing.
It would have been huge. But think about Destiny, right? Think about when Destiny released, and Microsoft was having their messaging was muddled. They were coming off that terrible E3 2013. Destiny releases 2014, and had that been a console exclusive, people would have forgot 2013 much faster. Mm-hmm. It would have been that must-have game. Yep. That for Microsoft, that people would have gone out and picked up, and it how funny is this? It fits the model that they want. That games as a service.
Yes. I bet they're kicking themselves in the ass right now over that. They've got to be, right? Come on.
I would think so. I'll be honest with you. I think they all got to go.
There's several of them that I think really do have to go. I think Phil Spencer. I think he's green in that department, in his position, but I like Phil Spencer. He's a very likable guy, man. Like,
he's a nice guy.
He really is. But at the end of the day, nice guys, what do they say? They finish last.
Yeah.
I'm not calling for Phil Spencer's head just yet, but I will mention names like Shannon Loftis and Aaron Greenberg. I think both of those people are very inept at their jobs. People don't like when I say that, but I'm sorry. I think marketing sucks, aka Aaron Greenberg, and Shannon Loftis is not bringing in the games that I think that they should be bringing in. I don't. How could you argue with that when the facts are facts?
I agree. Look, man, I agree with you 110%. But people are waving that green flag, and they would rather focus the blame and the problems that Microsoft have on the media, on Ryan McCaffrey, and that's crazy to me, because I've said this is not a cheap hobby, and as consumers, man, we got to hold these companies accountable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, especially now, bro, with all these microtransactions and these service-based games that are coming out. Our single-player games are just inundated with just these loot boxes and everything that's coming out, and we've got to take it. And this is the state of gaming. This is moving forward. This is how it's going to be. But we got to put our foot down at some point, right? We have to put our foot down. We got to say something. We got to say no on some of this stuff. We should be pushing these companies to do better. And right now, Microsoft coming out with this new X, I think it's awesome. It's a great console. To deny that it's not a great console and it cannot produce great things and it doesn't have good features and stuff would be ludicrous. But at the same time, take the multiplats away and you've got an empty box. You've got nothing really on there that is substantial. I mean, because you can say Recores and Rise and things like that. At the end of the day, those aren't moving consoles. They're just not. So
no, they're not. They aren't. And to me, it would be a damn shame if Microsoft missed or mismanaged this opportunity that they have with the Xbox One X, because for the reasons you just mentioned, I mean, it has great features. We know about how powerful it is. We know what it can do. I mean, you're starting to see. I get the sense, and this is just my own opinion, I get the sense that developers are excited. You're starting to see developers tweet out that they're going to patch certain games.
Yep.
Bungie just came out. They're going to patch Destiny. I think December 5th. Full 4K. Yeah.
And you know what? That's a great point too. It's this X. No matter what people feel about it, it will push the tech forward. It will push the gaming forward. It will. I mean, every time you have new tech, these devs are going to do stuff with it. Now, how far there will go, that's going to be different, with each dev, because we just don't know. Some developers, of course, are lazier than others, and we've seen that in some of the games on the Pro. We're going to see the same companies do the same thing on the X. That's just an obvious thing.
I don't know, Jay, if it's lazy as much as it's talent.
Well, that could be too, but at the same time. But here's the thing that's really crazy. Like Titanfall 2, it had those issues just the other day. Well, they patched that today, and now it's looking more beautiful and running better than it is on the Pro. So they fixed it. And to me, that was pretty damn quick. I thought that they were going to take their time on that or something, but hey, it just goes to show you that they are working towards making these mid-gen consoles have a better product in the end. And that is what I'm excited about. I'm like a kid when it comes to these games. I'm telling you, I've been gaming since 82, Enrique, and I get so happy when a new console comes out. I don't care what it is, except for the Switch. I know I'm not a Switch hater, but the handhelds just don't do it for me. But for a console in your living room, every time a new one comes out, I'm excited. I don't care who it's from. I get excited.
The Switch you can play the Switch on the TV. And let me tell you something.
Yeah, I know, but
the controller, the handheld controller for the Switch, it's actually a better controller than the DualShock 4.
Wow, that's saying something.
Yeah, I mean it's like it fits in your hand great. It just it's a simplistic design, but it works well, and
don't get me wrong.
More comfortable than DualShock.
I don't hate on the Switch at all. Like, I'm happy for people that love it. I'm happy for their success. It's amazing, right? But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to consoles, like, I'm just so excited. Like, I'm like a little kid. I'm giddy with joy when I go to the store and pick up this new thing and bring it home and play it, or it gets delivered to us now, actually. I mean, back in the day, we'd go pick it up, but now
we go pick it up, yep.
Everything's delivered, and it's great to see, it's great to have this stuff. Gaming is just something that I've loved forever, and I just don't know with the direction Microsoft is going. I love this console, guys. I really do. I think the X is hot, man. It's really good. I love the DVR functions and stuff in it, where is the company going? Like, what is the end game for them? You know, the multiplats are cool, but I think the fanboys that stick to that narrative that the multiplats are going to sell this console, I think that's a bad narrative to stick by. I think that's something that is only going to hold true for some people, but as a whole, I think if you look back in the last couple of years, you'll see that exclusives have put consoles, have put PS4s in people's living rooms, and have put Switches in people's hands. Exclusives still matter. I don't care what some of these guys tell you, but they matter at the end of the day. And Xbox has a real problem there.
I you know, it's funny. I get a lot of shit for saying that on this podcast. I've had people actually DM me say, why do you have to say that all the time? Like seriously, like it gets old after a while. I'm like, it doesn't get old to me. Look, I'm invested in this ecosystem. I've spent a lot of money. You know, I've had 2 gamer tags. I was a beta tester for Microsoft. I was there from day one. When I mean day one, like, you know, launch of the OG Xbox. I've spent a lot of money, so I am going to voice my displeasures with them because I'm a consumer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, man. And that's the thing. Like, if we stop talking about stuff, nothing's going to get fixed ever. I mean, look at the situation with Star Wars Battlefront 2. Everybody and their grandmother was complaining and complaining. And what they do, they took a look at it and they made some adjustments. They fixed some things about it. But I mean, it's still there. We still have loot boxes, which sucks. I don't like them at all. But hey, at least they're working on it, right? And they wouldn't have if we kept our mouths closed. That's what people have to understand. Collectively, our voices are huge. It doesn't matter how small a channel we are or how small we think we are in this whole grand scheme of things amongst other gamers and everything. If we collectively speak up, that voice gets heard and these companies will do something about it. And that is something that I tell people all the time. Look, they get mad at me, Enrique, for talking about microtransactions. They tell me all the time, stop bringing up microtransactions. No, I will not stop talking about them because they are evil to me. They are just greed. It's just greed upon greed with these things. And oh man, I'm not going to get into all that, but we have to speak up when we see that some of these companies are doing wrong. It's our money we're paying for this stuff. And moreover, it's our hobby we love. That's the bottom line. This is something I've done since 1982. I don't want it to go anywhere. I don't want another gaming recession. So I will speak my mind where I see companies doing wrong. I will continue to do that, and I'm glad you continue to do that. And every time you do, and you do one of these rants, I tune in.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. That's why I do it. You know, I've had people say, "Oh, you know, you're a little bit too opinionated or you're too harsh." Look, I'm like that because I feel like I think there's a lot of hey, what's going on, John?
What's going on, guys?
Not much, man.
Just sitting here. I was listening and I'm sitting here playing some Assassin's Creed, and I was like, man, I feel like talking about video games.
Well, glad
we're talking about the state of Xbox and where they're going. So.
Oh, it's all going downhill, man. It's shit.
So we actually, and you saw this, John, because I think we talked about this in the STGC Discord, which is fire. I like it, man. By the way,
it's always stuff.
Yeah, it's great conversations, man. You know, we're talking about Shannon Loftis and her, you know, kind of really just calling out Ryan McCaffrey, which I thought was kind of a shitty thing to do. What are your thoughts, man? Like, I know I think I read a little bit of what you said in the Discord chat, but if you wouldn't mind sharing that with you know, the rest of the listeners.
Yeah, so you know, look, I like Shannon Loftis. And there are Xbox executives I don't care for on a personal level, simply because I think a lot of them purposely feed some of the fanboy fire. But I really like Shannon Loftis. She seems like a nice lady, and I think she's doing what she can over at Xbox in regards to their first-party stable. But I was not a fan of what she tweeted at. I wasn't a fan of what she tweeted at B Money. Just by the way, says what does he got to do? Hey, I'll send you a link as soon as we're done here, B Money, for the Discord. But I wasn't a fan of what she tweeted at Ryan McCaffrey. And actually, I went back and forth in DMs today with Ryan McCaffrey just talking about it. Just him and I talk offline occasionally. But she said that she said, hey, I'd appreciate it. Or you're like, you don't have to tell people not to play our game. And I'm like, well, yeah, he kind of does. I mean, he's a reviewer, and it got okay reviews. It's a decent game. It's not great from everything I've heard. And again, I haven't played it. But if I'm a reviewer, like here's an example. I played Super Mario Odyssey. I've got about 40 or 50 hours in Super Mario Odyssey, right? It's the easy front runner for my game of the year. I haven't played Super Lucky's Tale, but from everything I've heard and everything I've seen, it's nowhere near on the same level of quality as Super Mario Odyssey, and I don't think anybody's going to argue that with me. If I'm reviewing the game and you've got a limited amount of cash on hand, you better believe I'm going to say, hey, if you're in the market for a platformer and you can buy one, don't buy Super Lucky's Tale. Buy Super Mario Odyssey. You're going to get it's a better game mechanically, it's a better game thematically, and you're going to get about 5 times the play time out of it, because there is a lot of fucking game in Super Mario Odyssey. I mean, that's what reviewers do. That's what they're paid to do. They are paid to give you an opinion of the games that they play, and sometimes it's an opinion that you may not agree with, but that is their job, and that is why they're given review copies. And if you don't like what they're saying about your games, then don't give them review copies. But I'm not saying she was being malicious, but at the same time, it's intentionally or not, it sends up a signal flare for fanboys to pile on stuff like that. And I don't know if you saw what he guys tweeted out a little earlier, but he's taking a break from Twitter now. He's logging off for a few days because of all the fucking fanboys that came at him today. And in part, I believe that's because of what Shannon Loftis tweeted out, because it gives people who engage in that validation that they need to say, okay, yes, see, here it is. Here's the media bias. And now Xbox executives, or, if it happens on the PlayStation side, PlayStation executives, they're calling it out, man. So we're fucking taking up arms. We're following our generals in the battle. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, John, we are going to see, if I haven't seen him yet, but I'm sure there's probably YouTube channels out there that are already saying Shannon Loftis takes it to the biased media.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to be her doing that is going to greenlight and validate this, I guess, this cause that people have, or this idea that there's media bias and there's people out there that want the Xbox to fail on purpose. And
when people do this, like they did today, I mean, people took that tweet and what followed was so bad for Ryan that he's now logging out Twitter for a few days. And 95%, the gaming audience is not encapsulated by Twitter, right? Like, most gamers are not on Twitter. So and most Xbox gamers, 95% of Xbox gamers are good. 99% of Xbox gamers are good, decent people who just want to play games, who don't want to argue about it. And most of the ones I know personally on Twitter are good, decent people who just want to play games and don't want to argue about it. And that's great. But every time this happens, it reinforces that negative fucking stereotype that Twitter gaming has about Xbox fans. They do. That's what they do. It's the reason why. And people say, "Oh, John, how could you say this?" But look, every time I see that fucking, well, in the past, it's not the Scorpio emoji, now it's the X emoji. But every time I saw that Scorpio emoji, or every time I see that X emoji, I am pre-inclined to think that you're a fucking fanboy. That's just the way it is. That's the way it is. And until people start policing themselves and start behaving better, that's the way it's going to stay. And that's not my fault. That's not my fault for thinking that. How can I not think that? Look at people like, I don't want to name any names, but it just gives them more attention than they deserve. But I mean, I don't see how anybody could fault a man for thinking that. I mean, just look at Ryan McCaffrey's mentions today.
I gotta ask a question, because I didn't see any of this and I caught you late, Enrique. So, but what exactly did Shannon Loftis say?
All right,
I've actually got the tweet.
Oh, I have it up too. I was gonna.
Oh, go ahead, Enrique. Then.
Yeah. Go ahead. So, and by the way, she's actually taken it down.
She did. Yeah,
she did take it down. But The tweet to her, the tweet that she, what she said to Ryan was, Ryan, I appreciate your review. I thought you made some good points. You don't need to actively discourage people from playing the game, though.
That to me is troubling.
But isn't that what a review is all about?
That's what it's. Yeah, that's, you know what. And here's the thing: like, if you don't want people, I mean, look, not everybody's going to like your game, and not everybody's going to recommend your game. I know people who don't like. I mean, Super Mario Odyssey, again, has a 97 Metacritic. It's almost universally loved. But you know what? There's a guy on our podcast who's not a big fan of it, and he wouldn't recommend it to people. And that is his opinion. That's a fair opinion. You know, and so if you don't want people criticizing your game, either you know what, you got two choices: either don't send them a fucking review copy, which I don't recommend, or just grow some thick fucking skin, because not everybody's going to like what you're putting out.
Yeah, friends don't let friends buy bad games. That's the way I see it. If I play a bad game, I tell my buddies, don't pick this game up. That's how I am. Exactly.
And it feeds into that narrative, which is not true, by the way, that you know, these games don't get reviewed well because they're Xbox games. Well, that's not true.
And what game was this?
Super Lucky's Tale.
Okay. See, I've heard bad things in reviews, and I've heard a couple of my friends say, hey, you know what? It's decent for what it is. And I might pick it up based on what they've told me. But just because somebody puts out a review out there doesn't mean necessarily that everybody's going to listen to that person and say, I'm not buying it because Ryan McCaffrey said it sucks. You know, I mean, he's a reviewer. That's what he's there for.
I think it's such a bad precedent, and I don't know, man. Like, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. All one has to do to see why this is troublesome is just take a look at Ryan McCaffrey's fucking Twitter feed. You know, like, I mean, dude, people were all over him, and I stepped in. There's an a big, very well-known Xbox fan on Twitter who, well, I don't agree with a lot of what he says. He has stuck up for me in the past, so I'm not gonna denigrate him publicly, because he has stopped me personally from getting harassed. But you know, he was you know, kind of going at it, and I said, look, I said, can we fucking cut this out, please? I mean, come on, like, leave the guy alone. This is his job, and he's allowed to not like games. Well, he's an Xbox guy. Okay, I got it. Yes, Ryan McCaffrey is an Xbox guy. He's an Xbox fan. He's he runs one of the biggest Xbox podcasts in gaming. But just because he's an Xbox guy doesn't mean he's a fucking sheep. And if he is allowed not to like an Xbox exclusive. It's allowed.
Yeah.
And in fact, you know what? You know, if it's just a mediocre game at best, and according to everything I have heard, it is just a mediocre game at best. You know what? He's doing people a fucking favor by saying, "Go play Mario Odyssey instead."
And I said this earlier. It's not his job to sell Microsoft products,
but it's his job to have an opinion on games. I mean, come on, it's crazy.
But it's not his job to shill for a company, and that's what people want him to do.
Oh man. And
it's just crazy. And you know, John, to your point, you know, he's staying off Twitter. He's not doing podcast either. You know, we had him on here before, and he told me, he's like, I'm not. He goes, you guys are great. He goes, I'm just not doing podcasts right now.
Yeah.
Some fanboys do way more harm than good to their own brand. And that's the problem. You know, they talk all this stuff. They go after developers. Sometimes they go after the reviewers sometimes. And in this case, it was an executive there at Microsoft going after him at first. And then, of course, all those fanboys follow suit. These guys have to understand that they hurt the brand more than
so
anything.
Much. Yeah. And that's the thing there is a reason that Phil Spencer engages with people like Rand Thor and does not engage with other members of the community, because Rand is a good, decent person. He's a mature person.
He is,
and he doesn't do the fanboy bullshit. And Rand, if Rand, sorry, you guys probably hear my button clicking. I'm doing a little combat in Assassin's Creed right now.
Why is it some of that combat remind me of Dark Souls a little bit?
It's nowhere near, like, it's Dark Souls.
No, I mean, not the same level, like difficulty, but like some of the movement.
A little bit, but it's nowhere near.
No, it's not.
Not nowhere near as good as Dark Souls combat. But and I just died. But you know, like Rand is a good dude. He is not afraid. He is an Xbox guy through and through. But you know what? He's also very much not afraid to criticize them. And you know, he is very well liked by Xbox brass. He's friends with Phil Spencer, and there's a reason for that. And there's a reason that other members of that community, who I will not name, are not welcome by Xbox. Well, at least by most of the executives.
Yeah.
There's a few who I think empower the wrong guys, and it's frustrating too, right? Because, like I said, there are so many great Xbox fans, and there are so many great Xbox gamers who deserve to be recognized by the company. Rand is one. Fonz, you're one. I have since I podcasted with you last time, I have watched and enjoyed your content.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
I'm not an Xbox dude, so like I've played primarily on the PlayStation this generation, but I'm just a guy who likes games. Period. Honestly,
you know, I left a comment like that on the last time I podcasted with Enrique just a few days ago. Somebody said, because I was on with Colt Eastwood, and Colt surprised me. He did. We had a very good conversation. He's
a good dude, man. Like I'm good friends with Colt outside of all this.
And you know, people were saying we need a Colt and Negative show. But you know, somebody in the comments said, "Hey, it's really nice to see a PlayStation guy and an Xbox guy engaging in civil discourse." I said, "I'm not a PlayStation guy. I'm a video game guy."
I did see that. Yeah.
I don't own an Xbox, but I also have nothing against Xbox. Like I don't own an Xbox because I've got a PC, a PS4, a 3DS, a Nintendo Switch, and I don't have time for anything.
But anytime you criticize the other side, believe me, I know it. I get called Xboxerelli sometimes. Sometimes I get called Pony. You know, I get it all. You know, anytime you're just in the middle and you're a filthy neutral, you get both sides calling you bad names. So
dude, that you know, that name was originally directed at me. I was the original neutral.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
told me about that last time.
Fucking. I will always love that because it just means I'm a normal human being who doesn't play console. Where I just don't. So when I see this stuff, like when I see Xbox executives like Mikey Barr is a great example, propping up and retweeting and engaging with the unsavory parts of the community, it's frustrating because there are so many other great Xbox gamers that deserve. Zach at Bear Claw Gaming is a great example.
Good dude.
Zach is fucking awesome. He's on our Discord. He's an Xbox guy through and through. But you know what? He's a good, reasonable, mature adult, and he does not get a fraction of the attention he deserves either from the YouTube community or from Xbox executives. That's a guy who deserves to be propped up.
I want to point out something. Innate in chat said Rand is cool, but sometimes he's trying to act like he's low key. He doesn't want Xbox on top. Well, you know what, Innate, I think that, you know, right now I'd love for Xbox to be on top. I would like that for competition. It's healthy for the gaming industry. I'd love for them to come out with a killer IP that just destroys everything we've got this gen by any company. But at the end of the day, I don't see that coming, and that's where the problem is.
I mean, the bottom line is like, Xbox is not. He doesn't want Xbox. No, he does want Xbox to be on top. But you know what? The fact of the matter is that they're not. And the only people right now that they have done a lot to right the ship. But the reason Xbox is not on top is because of Xbox.
Yes,
because of Microsoft. It's their fault and nobody else's. Microsoft did more to sell the PS4 in 2013 than Sony ever could have.
Xbox is run more like a business than any other gaming company. I know that sounds kind of weird because they're all businesses at the end of the day, but they are run differently. It seems like they look at analytics and they're all about, like they talk about the service-based games now. It seems like they're going one direction. And for anybody who's not on one side or the other, you can kind of see it more clearly. I don't know, at least I can see where they're going. And personally, I don't like it, but it is what it is, man. They're trying to make the most money they can out of.
I've been saying that for a year, man. I got so much heat for saying they're going to be like the Steam box.
That's why I said, Enrique, you and I, man, we think a lot alike when it comes to this stuff, and it's kind of eerie, man.
I don't look. I get it. I'm not mad at them. I mean, if they're making money and they are making money, hey, more power to them. I might not be along for that ride, though.
Yep, I'm there with you. I'm there with you, man. And like I said, I got the X, and I'm loving it. But it right now it's a honeymoon phase, and that's what I told people on other podcasts. Right now, everybody's in this honeymoon phase with this console. Yes, it's great, but what is there to play exclusively after all these multiplats are done? Like these next few months, what is Xbox going to offer?
See, everybody's talking about power and frame, and here I'm living that Switch life.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a graphics whore. I admit it. So.
Oh no, I know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm one of those guys where for me, gameplay trumps everything.
Of course,
everything. As far as gameplay goes, like I love platformers, and you don't get better than Super Mario Brothers. I mean, you just don't. But for me, it's also the ability to take those games. Like I love, like, graphics are great, graphics are nice. I'm playing Assassin's Creed on PS4 Pro right now, and it looks fantastic. This is a really, really pretty game. But
I'm playing it on X, John.
Oh yeah, well, you know what? You're just a fucking Xbot. But I love innovation. And I love new ways to experience games. And the Switch I think has done more excuse me, to move the industry forward than either the PS4 or the Xbox. Because this completely changes how I play.
In what way, though? In what way? Just that it's a handheld? Because I could say this like the 3DS.
Sure, but this is different. Like, for example, a great example is Doom, right? Like, yeah, it's running at 30 frames a second, but I know several people who are playing it on Switch right now, and they're like, they're telling me I don't even care that it's 30. I'm playing fucking Doom on my Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
And I'm not playing it on my TV. I'm playing it in fucking bed.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And next week I'll be like, yeah, Skyrim is a game from 2011. Got it. But you know what? Try playing it on a 3DS or a Vita if you can imagine that game running on it. But next week I'll be able to take fucking Skyrim wherever I go. And then next year you have Wolfenstein 2. I'll be able to take that wherever I go. The Evil Within 2. I'll be able to take that wherever I go. Damn. And to be able to actually take no bullshit console games and put them in my backpack and take them wherever and then plug them into my television and carry on like nothing happened is blowing my fucking mind. Like, playing something as expansive and open-ended as Zelda: The Breath of the Wild. When you play that on a hand, that was the first game I played on the Switch, and I just fucking gasped. I was like, God damn! I was like,
mind blowing.
I was like, I'm playing this on a fucking handheld. Like, are you shitting me?
Yeah.
It's just so in that way, to me, it's not just a handheld. I mean, it is literally it's both. I mean, it's a hybrid. It's a true fusion of handheld and console. And by the way, the Switch controller is the best controller of this generation. The Pro controller is the best controller of this generation. Period.
Yeah, I've heard some people really praise that controller.
Oh, it's fucking phenomenal. It feels great.
That's cool.
The best controller of this generation?
Yes, absolutely. It's better.
I don't know about that.
It's better than DualShock and the Xbox controller.
I would say I prefer the Xbox controller.
Well, that's because you're an Xbox.
I would want. Here's what I'd like. I'd like a DualShock, but with staggered sticks like the Xbox controller. That's just what I'd like, because I like that staggered.
I like it. I like it too. I'm actually kind of surprised that PS4 or that Sony has not done like a Pro controller yet.
It just feels more correct in the hands. Just feels right.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I like that Nintendo Pro controller. I said this to Jay earlier in the podcast. It's much better than the DualShock 4, I think.
Yeah. Are you talking about the Nintendo Pro controller? Yes, I agree.
Nintendo Pro controller. Yeah.
And there's I'm playing on a PS4 right now. Like, and there's nothing wrong with the DualShock 4. Like, people say, "Oh, it sucks," and
no, it doesn't.
I don't think it sucks. I think it's fine.
It's better than the DualShock 3.
Oh, pick up a DualShock 4 and then go pick up a DualShock 3.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, if I had to choose, I'd say the DualShock is my favorite. But the staggered sticks, man, I love them.
I do think the Xbox has a better controller than the PS4, but but I don't think it's like leaps and bounds or anything.
No, it's not.
It's not the disaster that people make it out to be. It's really, really not. That's hyperbole. But I do think the Switch controller is better than both. I just love the way it feels.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think you're the first person I've heard say that, John.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it. And I'm sure people will say, oh, John is shilling for Switch.
Now you're a Nintendo fanboy.
What is it? I'm a Nintendo dork or a Nintendo drone or there's all kinds of there's all kinds of silly fanboy names.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Which I hate, by the way. Like every time I see that, like you're an Xbot or you're a pony on Twitter, I'm like, you're a fucking 5-year-old. Like, grow up, Jesus! Are you fucking adults calling each other ponies?
Yeah, and it's funny. Like, it's funny when you get called everything too. It's like, what? Yesterday I was a pony. What's going on?
An Xbot.
I said this on Wednesday, Fonz, and I'll say it again. The great irony of this entire situation is that all the fanboys on either sides are the ones who play the least amount of games. The least amount of games. All you got to do is look at their PlayStation Network profiles or their gamer tags.
Yep.
They don't. They hardly play any games.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not an achievement chaser or anything. I'm not one of those guys. So my trophy count's not real high, but
I'm trying to break my addiction.
But here's the thing. I've noticed some of them just watching Netflix a lot or TV, not really
Netflix a lot, Hulu.
It'll say TV,
what do you play? Destiny every night. Like, okay. Like,
hey, John, I just want to say something real quick, man. I will never look at pregnancy the same again.
Huh?
What do you mean?
I'm trying to say this without spoiling the game.
Oh.
Wait, which game?
You're talking about Wolfenstein 2?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, I haven't played it. I haven't played it yet, so don't spoil it for me. But I know what you're getting at. I've heard
I beat
a little bit.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I will never look at pregnancy the same again, John.
That one had me scratching my head. I was like, why?
Like, what the fuck just happened?
I was like, why?
Like, what? Yeah. Like, just for...
Like, you're in the middle of a war. Why? Like, what? I mean, what point are you making? Like,
I don't know.
I know exactly. It's near the end of the game. I know exactly what scene you're talking about. Like, it's like bang, 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 and then, and I was like, whoa, hold on a minute.
It just came out of nowhere. It's
if I was BJ, I'd be like, why? Like, what's the point? Like, why would you do that?
I think he was like, oh yeah.
I would have just been like, you should clean up now. Like, okay. I'm like, I love the fact that, like, for people in chat who have no context, they're like, what the fuck are they talking about?
They're like, why we went from Shannon Loftis to talking about pregnancy in video games.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, like, I guess to bring it all back to Shannon Loftis, like, I retweeted it, and I was like, I don't like this take. This is a take that I don't like, because it opens it. As you can see, it opened Ryan up for attack, and people said, oh well, John, she's got a point. I'm like, no, actually, no, she doesn't have a point.
She doesn't have a point,
and it's okay to criticize points. I like Shannon, but you know what? Nobody, not even I'm fine with people criticizing me, but Shannon is perfectly fine to criticize the things we love, because if we don't, then they won't get better.
I think for me personally, when I see things like that, I used to tweet back at these people that used to lash out at others or whatever and be a fanboy. And I used to say stuff to them and things and get little Twitter arguments, some dumb shit. I don't do it anymore. And I've been known to do it if they come after me. Like, I'll say something about something, and it's not a fanboy statement at all. I'm just stating my opinion on something, and some fanboy will just randomly say something and try to insinuate that I'm a fanboy. So I'll lash back out at them. But I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. Honestly, somebody did something like that to me the other day on Twitter, and I didn't comment. I just ignored it. And I think that's what I'm going to do from now on, is just ignore these guys, because it's not worth my time anymore, to be honest. It's petty. Like, going back and forth with somebody like that, who's so staunch in being a fanboy and so, like, dedicated to the brand, you're never going to win with them. You know, you're never going to win with their group. So
Nope.
you might as well just excuse yourself from the conversation. And just,
I mean, it's a hive mind, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there was somebody, I can't remember her name because she's completely unimportant, but Xbox fanboy or fangirl, I guess, Xbox fangirl. And she, I had called somebody out for harassing somebody, and then somebody directed me to her tweet. She says, hey, this person is obviously referring to you. And I had retweeted her, and I said, oh, whatever. And then she says, I was waiting for you. And I was like, okay, like, what were you waiting for? And then she says, this was bait. You took it. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
And then she says, you're just the thing that you hate the most. And I was like, I guess you own me. Like, I don't. Okay. Like, what were you waiting on? Like, and then I started, and then of course, because my DMs are open, and then the DMs started pouring in, you fell for it, you fell into the trap. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
some of these people play into that stuff a little too hard. It's like this role play game they have going on. And
it's almost like LARPing, isn't it?
Yeah, like none of us
rolling dice.
None of us sane-minded people are playing along. So you all look like idiots to us.
That's why I was confused. She was, she was like, I was expecting you, and I'm like, okay, like for dinner, like what are we talking about? Like, and she said, she's like, I remember what she said. She was like, I shot up the signal flare, and you fell hook, line, and sinker, and I'm like, right. I was like, I said, I don't even know who you are. Somebody screen capped your tweet and sent it to me. Like, and that's the best part. She was like, I wish I remember her name. But she says, I was waiting for you. You fell right into my trap. And I was like, I wouldn't even have known about this had somebody not screen capped it and said, I think she's talking about you. I was like, otherwise I wouldn't even know who you are. So what the fuck are you talking about? And then some follower of hers sends me a DM. He's like, you fell right for the bait, motherfucker. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh my god, that doesn't make any sense.
I just laughed. It
is like LARPing. That's what I'm gonna. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's funny. Like some of this stuff is just crazy to me. Some of the things that these people say, and like seriously, like from now on, I'm not going to get baited into that bullshit. Like I'm tired of it. Like
yeah,
it's old. Like I'm a gamer, guys. If you don't like my opinions, don't listen to me. Don't pay attention. Don't follow me on Twitter. It's that simple.
Yeah.
They'll follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, of course. And
yeah,
of course they'll watch whole podcasts. They'll watch a 2.5 hour podcast and just spew nothing but hate just because they don't like you. Like, what a waste of fucking time that is.
So like I don't, like I generally don't listen to those podcasts. Every now and then somebody will say, hey, somebody mentioned you on so-and-so podcast. I'm like, oh, okay. And like on SDGC, my podcast, which of course goes live every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please go check us out. We have different topics. Like we almost never talk about the same thing twice. We have different topics every podcast. But these fanboy podcasts, whether or not it's PlayStation or Xbox, they all it's the same fucking podcast every week. Every week, It's the same podcast. I don't see how anybody could sit there and listen to that week after week after week. I mean, it doesn't it get old after a while? Like, I mean, what else? There's so much shit going on in gaming. There's plenty to talk about. Like, I don't know. It's almost like I'm convinced that some of these people don't actually love games the way they say they do. It's just it's a power trip. It's a power fantasy. Like I don't know.
I think some of them are just way into the brand that they just have to talk on it.
Which is weird because
they play the games.
That's weird because these companies don't give a shit about you.
No, they don't. They just care about your money.
They don't fucking care. Like that's the best part. Like Sony, and that goes same goes for Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft. They don't care about you as a person. They don't. EA doesn't care about you as a person. Ubisoft
doesn't care about.
EA. There's a lot EA doesn't care about. Ubisoft doesn't care about you as a person. you know, my favorite developer is Square Enix, and they don't give a fuck about me.
Hey, John, don't let Marcel hear you say that, by the way.
What's that?
Don't let Marcel hear you say that. Yeah,
I know, right? Yeah. I love Marcel. I love Marcel. But yeah, I mean, these people don't. These people. So that's why I guess that's the other reason why I don't understand the cheerleading. You know, because these companies have. I mean, they are. I mean, they don't care. They don't care about you. They have done nothing to warrant this. None of them have done anything to warrant the kind of loyalty that they have from multiple people.
Yeah. What do they say? They're doing nonprofit work. That's right.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Nonprofit work.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey guys, real quick, I don't know if you guys saw Destin Legary's tweet about what was going on earlier with Ryan McCaffrey.
Yeah, he had to beg people off. He was like, "Could you please leave Ryan alone?"
Yeah, and so he tweeted out, he goes, "I don't know what's going on, but leave at DMC_Ryan alone." That's Ryan McCaffrey's Twitter handle. Guy's done more for Xbox or the media side than anyone I know, and has incredible integrity. Guy speaks his mind and is honest. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, I mean, fucking leave him alone. Like that's what Ryan gets for being an Xbox fan now, right? Like he gets harassed on Twitter. The guy's allowed to have a fucking opinion. He's allowed to tell people, "Hey, don't buy Super Lucky's Tale. It's not a great game. I didn't care for it." But he can't do that because just like a good little fucking sheep, he's got to sit around and tell you whether or not you know what. It doesn't matter if it's good. It is your job as a fan to buy the products of X company. That's not how this works. That's not how it fucking works. Oh, but you know what, John? And then somebody else said, "But John, no, you're wrong because we've got to like Super Lucky Tale. You got to support the small devs." I'm like, not if the game's not good.
No,
if the game's not good, you shouldn't support it. Why?
Exactly. Why would you do that? Like anything in life.
Well, so we see more games. I'm like, well, you're going to get more games regardless. If it's not good, that's like saying, you know what? Ride to Hell Retribution was a fucking shit pile, but you should have bought it because if you had, maybe we'd have more motorcycle games.
Is that game getting a sequel?
Oh God, no. Oh God, no. But like that's my point. Like it's like it is not your job even if you're a fanboy. It is not your job to blindly buy the products of either Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo. That is not what a responsible. It's not just what a responsible consumer does. It's not what a responsible adult does. Listen to reviews; they're valuable. Make informed decisions, especially when these reviews are uniform, basically across the board, like they are for Super Lucky's Tale. I think it's got like a 60 lower 60s meta.
I think it's like mid. Teetering at low 60s on Metacritic right now.
Yeah, so Ryan's review was.
It's not like his review was an outlier.
He was on the spectrum for reviews for Super Lucky's Tale, so I don't get why he's being singled out. I really, really don't.
I don't get it either, man. I don't get it either. People like to use him as a scapegoat a lot. It's unfortunate. Good dude too, man. Like I said, we've had him on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know the guy much. I don't follow Ryan at all. So I don't know.
He's a nice guy.
How he is, I really don't. So
yeah, he's a good dude, man. And he was one of the guys that was when the OG Xbox dropped, and you guys remember official Xbox magazine OXM, he was one of the guys there from the get go.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's I'm 37 years old. And shit like this is the reason my mom still looks at me cross-eyed to this day when I tell her I play video games.
My wife makes fun of it. She reads some of this stuff. My wife looks at me. She gets my wife seriously, candidly looks at me and says, "None of these guys get laid."
Well, luckily my wife loves video games, so I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, like I don't know. Like it doesn't just make Xbox fans look bad. It makes all of us look bad because we're all gamers.
We all get lumped in, and
it got so bad. It got so bad for poor Ryan that now he's fucking quitting Twitter for a few days.
That just blows my mind, man.
Yeah, he's gone. And he's also not doing any more podcasts except for Podcast Unlocked for a long time. He told me that today.
Yeah. Well, he told me that. Like I said, I was trying to get him back on. And he told me, he said, "Look, man, you guys were great, but I'm not doing it anymore because of."
He opens himself up.
A lot of.
He does that.
Yeah. It's a damn shame, man. It's a damn shame.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just a garbage. It's just a shit. Oh, hold on, let me turn my phone off. It's just a shitty situation, man. and it's not gonna get any better. Like, and especially with the holiday season rolling in, right? Like I tweeted out early a few days ago. It's like, the holiday season is the time when fanboys post pictures of empty pallets at Best Buy and tell you how bad the other console is going.
Yeah, but you know what? We got to see through the bullshit right now. I mean, we got to be just happy with the games we have right now. There's so much to like, whether you're a Nintendo guy, an Xbox guy, or a PlayStation guy. There's games there for everybody. I don't understand.
I especially don't understand all the negativity, especially like I need games now more than ever in the fucking shitty ass world we live in.
Let me tell you something.
Yes. Facts.
The sexual harassment stuff is off.
Oh my God! Now Louis C.K., bro, and I
saw
love Louis C.K., but fuck that guy,
George Takei.
George Takei.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. He was accused today. It says in 1981 he fucking molested a model.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Wow.
Damn.
And then I reloaded Twitter and Hope Solo accused the former head of FIFA of grabbing her ass and trying to fondle her genitals. And then I reloaded Twitter and a writer on Mad Men said the creator of Mad Men propositioned her for sex.
Jesus.
The showrunner, then I refreshed Twitter and guess what? The showrunner of Flash has been suspended for trying to solicit sex.
I don't trust any of these guys anymore in Hollywood, man. I'm telling you, it's like they're all just going down.
Vince Ingenito at IGN.
Yeah, the whole tweet, I forget her name now. She tweeted, and then he tweets back. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here?
His tweets were fucking cringeworthy.
You know what, John? Did you want him, like, as you're reading it, you're just like, dude, just stop. You should have just stopped.
I'm just like, dude, stop. Please stop tweeting. Stop tweeting. Like, and then he posts, like, text messages of the conversation between him and her, and it came off as, like, because, it was like, okay, he was like, hey, this long paragraph. It's like a fucking 15-year-old would tweet, or text. He's like, hey, I don't, this, you're my friend. I respect you. I don't know what happened. I don't know what I did to disrespect you, but I promise, like, like you seem like you need some space, blah, 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 blah. I'm happy to give it to you. I respect all my friends and you're my friend. And then like the next day, because the timestamps right there in his text messages, she texted him back. She's like, yeah, I definitely need some space. So I appreciate you recognizing that. And he's like, yeah, another paragraph long text message. Yeah, no problem. Like I respect all my friends, and so-and-so wouldn't tell me what had happened, and I'm just trying to figure out how I crossed the line, yada yada yada. But I promise I'll leave you alone now, and I'm really sorry. I just value our friendship so much. Then like 2 hours later, just wondering what I did, like
oh my God,
I'm just, and I'm just like, dude, stop. Oh my God, please,
just stop. He's getting worse for himself.
Shout out to Delilah HD, by the way. Good person, good friend.
Hey, what's up, Delilah? I think it's the first time I've seen her in the live chat.
I don't know who that is, but if she's cool, I'll take your word for it.
She's cool.
Yeah. So big shout out to Delilah. Jay, we got to get you and Colt on the podcast, man. Sometime.
Yeah, Colt's a good friend, man. He's a good buddy of mine. He's a funny guy, man. Like behind the scenes, that dude is just funny as hell.
Yeah, we had a good time. We had a good conversation with him too. So really enjoyed having him on.
Yeah. Of course, I tease him. He's an Xbox fanboy, but but he's one of those good, harmless fanboys. You know what I'm saying? They're out there. He's just a cheerleader at the end of the day. That's what I call him.
I mean, that's the thing. It's fine to be. It's like me personally, I could never I love Nintendo and I love Sony. I could never blindly cheerlead them because Sony has been so anti-consumer over the past year that it's difficult to breathe. And Nintendo just makes stupid fucking decisions about their platform and their online services. So I can never blindly cheerlead something, but there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to tell you can't be happy or you can't support a particular company. That's fine. It's just my problem comes into it's twofold. One, the complete inability to criticize a thing, and two, getting upset when somebody else criticizes that thing.
There you go. Because I don't think some of these guys completely blindly cheerlead, especially like Colt. Like, yes, he does do a lot of cheerleading, but he does point out some problems too within the company, and we talk about those things on our podcast. And so he doesn't blindly do it, and there's a lot of other guys out there that don't blindly cheerlead. But I know what you're saying, like. But it's just, man, some of these people within all the communities here, the whole gaming community in general, there's just so many good people. It's like they totally outweigh the bad. They really do.
Yeah, it's just sorry, I was trying not to die real quick. Dude, Assassin's Creed is tough. Like, this is not an easy fucking game.
Is it good? Is it good?
It's really good, actually. And I am somebody who has not been interested in Assassin's Creed in a very long time.
Yeah, I played Assassin's Creed 2, loved it, and then I tried Black Flag and hated it because of the sea, the whole being on the water and everything.
I love Black Flag.
I didn't like the water thing. Okay, it wasn't for me, so I didn't like the game. But I heard this game is really good from so many people. So
well, I love ancient Egyptian history is like a hobby of mine.
Well, it's not a hobby of mine. I'm not real huge into it, but I love hearing all the stories of the pyramids and the Sphinx and everything. It's cool stuff.
Let me just tell you something. Even in 1080p on 1080p TV on the X, this game looks good. Really good.
It's a really pretty game. It is a super pretty game. I'm not going to say that it looks better. Like, I still think the benchmark for visuals this generation is Horizon Zero Dawn.
I would agree with that.
That is a fucking technological marvel. I think Horizon is artistically, visually, I think it's just better looking than Assassin's Creed Origins, and aesthetically as well. I really love the art direction. But this is right up. This is right up there.
What game is better looking?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. No, it's a great looking game, but as far as I guess it depends, because if you look at the lush environments for Horizon Zero Dawn compared to AC Origins, it's completely different. You got the desert, and it's different.
Horizon Zero Dawn actually has a really cool desert too.
Yeah,
but
and
I'm really excited about playing the Frozen Wilds DLC. But that's gonna have to wait because I'm having a ball with.
A lot of people couldn't get into Horizon Zero Dawn because of the story didn't really. And I get it, because even for me, I thought the story was just okay at best.
See, it's weird because I thought it was really interesting.
The gameplay itself was good to me, though. I had fun with the gameplay. The mechanics, fighting against those robots was really awesome. Fighting against humans sucked ass, in my opinion. I didn't like the human AI was garbage.
Well, not only was it not good AI, but fighting with the spear is just not intuitive. At all.
No, it wasn't.
Fighting with the bow is just magical. But
the bow was cool,
and the traps are awesome. Fighting with that spear though, because there's no. I think it could have benefited from like an AC or like a Dark Souls style combat system when it comes to fighting human opponents. And I'll go ahead and say like Delilah HD in chat said AC Origins gameplay is awesome. The climbing is great, and Bayek controls a lot better than past Assassin's Creed protagonists.
Nice.
But the combat is they try to be Dark Souls, and again, I'm a Dark Souls purist, so maybe I'm biased.
Yeah,
but
that's what it is.
but the combat is. It's people have said it's Dark Souls light. It is nowhere near as good as Dark Souls. Like, not even in the same fucking realm.
No, it's not. But it's a very for me. It's like a very light version of Dark Souls.
So, Enrique, you're enjoying that X with the visuals on a 1080p TV, right? I mean, you can attest to that.
No, yeah, actually, I can. I mean, it's actually pretty cool. I mean, it's everything is just smooth. That's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to go out and buy Wolfie 2 now for the Xbox One X, because I forget his name, from Digital Foundry tweeted out. I think it was today.
Was it Tom Warren?
No, it wasn't Tom Warren. It was another guy. He said that, just without the patch, running at 1080p 60 on the X, the game looks really good.
Yeah. No, the super sampling is really doing its job for the X, and it's the console's great. Like I said, I'm really happy with it.
Eric Jackson just picked up one 2 days or yesterday, I think, and he was playing The Witcher 3. And I think that's at 60 frames a second, right?
I heard about that.
Yeah. And that's not even enhanced.
It's not enhanced.
Too bad they can't fix that combat.
Oh, easy there.
Yeah, you're a hater on Witcher 3.
Yeah.
I just love getting a rise out of people with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never beat Witcher 3. I only have like 25 hours into it.
Dude, you gotta.
Witcher 3 is a great example, in my opinion, of there being too much game.
Well, I get lost in the side missions.
No, that's Persona 5.
I did a bunch of side missions, and I think the side missions are just phenomenal in that game. I mean, the side missions have their own cutscenes, and
I thought they were
beautifully done.
I thought they were actually far more interesting from a narrative perspective than the actual storyline.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know because I didn't get that far into the storyline, but
No
where I'm
jaggies.
at is it's pretty damn nice, you know. And I've got it on the Pro, and it looks great with the enhancements. Well, I should say with the resolution bump, it looks great. But yeah, I'm interested to see what it looks like on the X. I want to see what kind of enhancements they do for that.
I'm telling you, Jay, the super sampling is doing its thing in Assassin's Creed, man.
Dude, it should do it in every game. That's the cool thing. And even if you play the older titles, I think with the 360 titles, you get like, I think it renders everything like 16 times the resolution. Like it renders everything in real time. Yeah, it's not just upscaled.
I got to pick up Knights of the Old Republic then.
Yep.
Yeah, so like I had heard that Knights of the Old. God damn it! This fucking game has pissed me off now. Like the more I play the game, the like I'm talking about Assassin's Creed, like the less I actually like the combat. Like God damn!
But you hated Witcher 3, so nobody's going to listen to you about that.
Yeah, but this is twitchy as
nobody's going to listen to you.
Like Jesus Christ, dude. I think part of the problem is that Bayek is constantly getting stuck on shit. Because he moves. I don't know. He moves around so damn fast, and for me anyway. I don't know. Maybe it's just glitchy, but he is constantly getting stuck on shit.
What are you playing it on?
I'm playing it on normal.
No. What console?
Oh, PS4 Pro.
Well, that's why.
The problem. That's the problem.
I need to be playing on the all-in-one entertainment system, the Xbox One.
Yeah.
No, the X.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that Switch port.
Wow, this game looks. I mean, I'm telling you, Jay, it looks great. I mean,
dude, that's what I'm telling you. Like everybody I know that still has a 1080p TV is telling me the same thing. They're like, dude, these games look great. Like it's awesome. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I hear. I mean, I've got a 1080 I can hook mine up to just to test it out and see myself, but I can't pull it away from my HDR TV. There's no way.
Who was telling me that? Someone was saying that Battlefront 2 looks really good, 4K HDR on the X.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. But you know what though? I've compared some games on the Pro to the X, and I got to say, you know, the Pro is no slouch either. I mean, the HDR and stuff on that thing is pretty fantastic, man. Like, so I mean, right now I wouldn't say the multiplats are a way ahead in any way of the multiplats on the Pro, but they're a step up. Like I have Ghost Recon on both, and I see the frame rate is like locked at 30 on the X, whereas on the Pro, I get some frame rate dips here and there while driving around and everything. And it looks just slightly better, but again, slightly. So, yeah. So it's things like that you'll notice. I think it's the extra RAM in the system and stuff that's really keeping those frame rates steady.
Do you feel so? Let me ask you this: do you feel like the Xbox One X? I'm trying to figure. Okay, so for Black Friday this holiday, right? Like both the Pro, I think the Xbox One and Slim is going to get knocked down to $189, according to what I saw.
$199.
I thought it was $199.
$199. I'm sorry. And of course, you know, there's not going to be a price drop in the Xbox One X, and I don't think anybody should expect one.
No. What about the Pro though? Do you think that'll drop?
That's the rumor.
I think if Sony's smart, they'll drop it.
Drop that $50. Yeah, I think it'll sell like hotcakes.
I think it will too. I'm just not sure Sony is smart enough to drop it.
I wouldn't say smart. I wouldn't say it's smart enough. I would say that they're making a lot of money right now. I think they're just leaving it as is. Personally, I don't think they will.
So let me ask you this: do you think so? If somebody has an Xbox One S, do you think it is worth their while to drop an additional $500 and get a
wholeheartedly yes to get an X? Yes, I think the Xbox One S, and I hate to trash it, but I gotta say, compared to the X, it is garbage.
Really?
Because of some of these games and the frame rate dips and the Vaseline look smeared all over the TV screen on some of the games. It just doesn't look right at times. Like some of these games look terrible. Ghost Recon on the base hardware, base Xbox One, it looked terrible to me. And a lot of Xbox dudes, when I came over from the Pro, because I played the hell out of that game with friends on the Pro, and I came and I played with one of my friends that wanted to play with me on the on the One, and he wanted to play that game, and I was like, cool, we'll play it. And he even bought me the game, and dude, as soon as I logged in, I was like, what's wrong with this game? It doesn't look right. The frame was all over the place. I was like, dude, this game is nothing like this on the Pro. I said, it's beautiful over there, and it runs a lot smoother. And I said, no wonder you guys hate this game over here on the Xbox. And as soon as that patch came out for the X, I downloaded it. I fired up the game, and I was like, this is much better. And I was like, wow. And I told my friends that hated the game, I said, hey, download the patch. Seriously, just do it. They downloaded the patch. They fired up the game, and they've told me, both of them that have the game has said to me, I may play this game now because this game is playing like it never has on the base model.
Which game is this?
Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Ghost Recon.
Okay, I haven't played that either, actually.
Yeah, the frame rate was terrible on the
it was
the Xbox One,
and that's what I'm saying. Some of these games just don't. They either don't look good or they just have bad frame rates and stuff on the base model. It is what it is, man. Like I hate to trash it, but after playing with the X, like there's no going back to the base model Xbox One. There's just not.
It's it's weird because I have absolutely no doubt that the Xbox One X, the S, not the X, look, I gotta be real. I fucking hate both. I hate that name, the Xbox One X. I hate that fucking name. Should just call it the Scorpio.
Yeah.
That's a cool fucking name. Xbox
yeah, I get confused. I'm trying to talk here. I'm saying Xbox One X and S.
S. Yeah, it's just they're too fucking similar. But I mean that's a first world gripe right there. But like I have no doubt that the Xbox One S, as in Slim, vastly outsell the X, just like this holiday season, just like the PS4 Slim will outsell the and I bring that up because I think people, just as they did for the Pro, have vastly unrealistic expectations of what this is going to do.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is the way I look at it, John. I look at it like this. If they're going to buy this console that's $500, okay, if all their ecosystem is within the Xbox universe, the brand, and all their friends are on Xbox, if they're going to upgrade to an S or an X, they're doing themselves a disservice by going with the S. I don't care. Spend the extra money, get the X, because they're going to have a much better experience on that thing.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
The load times themselves are just—it's crazy. It's like cut in half.
The problem that Sony ran into last year with the Pro, and the problem that Microsoft is going to run into this year with the X, is that 90% of the gaming crowd are the casual gamers, and that the mass market. Yeah. The mass market cares about affordability. Like they don't care about load times, or like this means nothing to them, or load times or visuals. Like for example, if little Billy says, "Mom, I want an Xbox," she says, "You got it. I'll get you an Xbox for Christmas."
Yeah,
she's not going to buy him a $499 Xbox One X.
Get the S.
She's going to get the S, just like she's going to get the Slim. She's not going to get the Pro, and she's going to get him a few games, and that's going to be that. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like I think there's an argument there, and I think you did a good job. I think there's an argument there to be made as to why you need an Xbox One X or why you need a PS4 Pro. I just don't feel like either.
If you're an Xbox dude or a PS4 dude, yes, I feel like there's a need to. Well, no, I take that back because it doesn't work the same for the PS4. Because for me personally, I think the PS4 Pro isn't as. It definitely isn't as big a leap as. It is for the.
That's a fact. Yeah.
Because the PS4 Pro is a phenomenal console. I mean, the way the thing is built and the things that it produces is amazing. Like what they got out of that.
Yeah, I just want to say this game runs so smooth. This is ridiculous.
I'm telling you, it's like night and day with when you compare it to the S and the X, dude. That's what I'm saying.
I'm on a 1080p TV, and I'm just like, okay, I can see the difference.
Well, let me. Hold on. I got off track. There was a point I wanted to make. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I wanted to ask both you guys, because I don't think like Fonz just did a great job of explaining how he would to an Xbox gamer why you need an X. And I think the problem is that neither company has done a great job of explaining to the market why you need these consoles. I don't think they have. I don't think either company has done a great job of saying this is why you need it.
No, they both just said this is for our hardcore audience, which I think is bullshit, because at the end of the day, these companies want to sell consoles. To say that it's only for the hardcore, it's just a complete fallacy, because you want to move consoles. Why wouldn't they try to push this to the casual market? Why wouldn't you tell
like even if it doesn't sell that well to the casual market, I mean it'll sell some. So like act like you want it to sell. Act like you want it in people's homes. Sony didn't do a great job with the PS4 Pro either. They were like, here it is, and if you want it, you want it.
Let me tell you something about this console, John, about the X, which is funny to me that Microsoft's not really doing a good job at pushing this to the market. Number one, 1080p. Like Enrique's saying, he can attest that these games are looking and running much better on this thing, on his 1080p TV. Why isn't Microsoft really pushing that issue? They're not. It's just all about 4K, 4K, 4K. To most people in America right now, the adoption rate of TVs, of 4K TVs, I think right now in America is only around 18%. That's it. That's households. 18% of households have a 4K TV.
It'll be 30% next year.
Yeah.
So why aren't people pushing that to the casuals? The fact that 1080p, this thing is still going to do you a lot of good. And number two, they're not pushing the fact that this thing's DVR capabilities is flat out amazing. Like, that's one thing that's really blown me away. The fact that this thing can record at 4K, 60 frames per second with HDR. I'm just blown away.
That's a good point you make. Like I've heard people say, 4K, 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 4K. Like everybody's got a 4K television now, and if you don't have one, you're gonna get one. That's like, okay, yeah, maybe in 5 years, but I mean, television, money doesn't grow on fucking trees, and televisions are still expensive, and there are more 1080p's in people's homes, far more 1080p televisions than there are 4K. Like I have a 4K HDR television, right? I am the only person that I know in my circle of friends here that I that live near me. I'm the only one that has one.
God,
me too, bro. Me too.
This is just oh my God, this is incredible.
I think Enrique's about to have he's about to have a meltdown. But yeah, I'm the only person who owns one, and one of my friends who don't care about gaming, or because I'm an AV guy, who don't care about audiovisual stuff, when they come over and I'm like, look at these textures, look at that HDR. They're like, what? What? It looks fine. It looks good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks good.
What I mean.
I'm like, what kind of TV you got? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's whatever that 1080p stuff is. I'm like, oh, you don't want 4K? They're like, no. because people don't. So yeah. Say, look, if you got a 1080p television, this console is also for you. There are benefits for that, and neither company, I feel, has done a good job of doing that. Like I don't. It's just like these consoles, like they made them, and they put in the money, they put in the R&D, and they come out feeling like afterthoughts.
Hey, Jay, this is 30 frames, right?
Yeah, it's 30 frames, but it feels good, doesn't it?
I mean, it doesn't feel like 30 frames.
It's because you're not getting any frame dips at all on that.
I mean, this is incredible. This is the smoothest game I've ever played on my TV. I'm just.
Which game is this again?
Assassin's Creed.
Oh, you're playing Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
Okay.
On my 10, and it just like it runs perfect.
That's how I felt with Ghost Recon on the X. I was like, this thing is just running like really smooth. It's weird. It's like night and day, bro, between the S and the X. It was night and day.
Like I'm sitting on a camel and everything's like picture perfect. Everything's smooth.
That is why Xbox needs to push that 1080p aspect. That this thing super samples and it runs great. Like, it's weird.
You know what's funny is that eventually you're going to get that game that is just not optimized well, and it's going to run like shit on the Xbox One X.
Titanfall 2, and they patched it. They
exactly.
patched it today. They patched it, and it runs and looks fucking fantastic.
Oh, no, but what I was saying is, well, I guess my point was that somebody will come out and say, "Oh, I knew the Xbox One X sucked."
Yeah, they've already done it.
I knew it was shit. I knew it was shit.
Yeah, just look on Twitter. People are already doing that shit, and I'm just banging my head up against the wall. Like, I don't get it. Like, you can't look. Microsoft can't win here, and it doesn't make sense. Like, yes, I know that the whole, the state of the first party exclusives and everything is in shambles right now, but this console, just base it on this console alone, your opinion on this console and what you're playing right now, these multiplats right now, how they are, how they look, how they play. You can't say it's a terrible console. You just can't. That, to me, it's fanboy shit. That's all it is.
Yeah. Of course, it's what it is.
I mean, I got to be honest with you. I mean, I just Eric in the live chat says, "Calm down, Enrique, you Xbot."
Eric, it's true, man. I've seen you, Eric, in Twitter, like talking to some of those guys that are really downing the system. And I know that one guy in particular. I'm cool with the guy and everything, but he's a fanboy, and he's really just bashing on the system.
I'm just saying. I mean, this. I could tell I can immediately tell the difference. I mean,
yeah.
I haven't seen a game look this good on my TV.
Yeah, it's facts, man. Like that's what I've been so impressed with the last few days. I really like. I think that and this goes for the Pro too. The Pro is a great system. The Pro and the X are great mid-gen consoles. They're awesome.
Well, I shouldn't say this good. Because I'll throw Horizon Zero Dawn in there. That game looks amazing, but I'm just saying in terms of performance. That's why I asked you, like, is this 30 frames? Because it's so smooth, it's butter smooth.
Yeah, it is 30 frames. Although I will say that getting The Witcher 3 to run at 60 frames a second on console is fucking impressive.
Yeah, I'm going to download that tonight when I go to bed. I have it. I have the digital copy. I got to re-download.
I don't think the digital copy does it. You have to have the physical disc copy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That sucks.
Yes. And that's because of all the patches they have made since
that does make sense. Yeah.
That disc. Yeah. So they're saying you have to buy the physical disc and put it in there. And I know people who've played that who have the disc, and they're saying it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Eric was telling me about it. He's saying it's pretty badass.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't think that's gonna happen then.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Like if Shannon Loftis, bringing it back to Shannon Loftis, since that's what we were originally talking about. I just think that personally, I feel that she needs to go, and so does some other people within Xbox.
You want her fired?
I hate to be like that, but
you're fired.
She's not doing the job that I think she should do. Like these games that she's greenlighting are just not the games that most of these gamers want to play, especially even Xbox guys.
Zoo Tycoon was a weird choice.
Recore, Super Lucky Tail, Zoo Tycoon. None of these games are speaking to the core Xbox audience. What do we know core Xbox audiences to be into? Shooters. That exactly. Like, what made her think that these games were going to do excellent on that console? Even a game like that wasn't well received. It was Sunset Overdrive. That another one. Not a game
because it's a great game.
But that's not targeted to their core audience.
I agree.
And that is why it only sold 1 million copies. And then you've got Quantum Break. Again, another game that doesn't suit their core audience. And even though the game is not fantastic at all, I'm getting into that. I'm just saying that these games aren't the type of games that they're accustomed to. And I think that, sure, you got to take chances. You got to branch out. But at the same time, bring us a good product at the end of the day. We need some. They need some real good bangers on Xbox. They do.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. I hope they don't waste this opportunity here that they have.
I mean, the first time I fired up my OG Xbox and I put on that Halo disc and I heard that music, I was just like, oh my God, I was sucked into.
I remember that.
Halo was just my game. Like
Yeah. Microsoft has definitely had a problem with their first party stable this generation, and it's something that I have discussed with on not just my podcast but on BRAP and other podcasts, and I had an Xbox 360 and a PS3. I played them both. I don't own an Xbox One this generation because the console itself just didn't speak to me. The exclusives didn't speak to me. But again, that is indicative of kind of the different audiences that play these, or at least the different audiences that are kind of beholden to these consoles, I guess is the best way to put it. And you kind of hinted at it, Fonz. Like Xbox games just don't. The exclusives just don't do it for me. And that's fine. Like, they don't have to do it for everybody. The thing I'm confused about is that like some of these games, like Quantum Break and Sunset Overdrive, or like Gears of War 4 is a big one because that underperformed. That did not sell the way that they anticipated or wanted it to, and that one surprised me. And
it's a decent game. Gears of War 4 is not bad. I mean,
yeah, it's good.
It's a good game.
It's Gears of War, so as long as you go in expecting Gears of War, that's what you're going to get, and there's nothing wrong with that. Gears of War is fine. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they've got a first-party problem this generation. I don't think anybody can deny it. And I used to think that first-party games this generation didn't sell consoles, but then the Nintendo Switch came out. And everybody's buying. I mean, you buy Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games. You don't buy them for multi-plats. And the Switch is fucking cleaning up. It is cleaning the fuck up. So I don't understand why more of these games, one, aren't resonating with Xbox gamers, like Gears of War. That one really surprised me. And two, it doesn't like Sea of Thieves. Let's take Sea of Thieves, right? Like I have said, and Fonz, I would be very interested to see what you think about this. I have predicted numerous times that Sea of Thieves is going to be a good game that fucking bombs.
Yeah, I don't particularly like that type of game. It doesn't interest me. Again, it's on the water. I don't like games that are based on the water. Just don't like them.
But Crackdown 3 is another one. I'm like, I don't think Crackdown 3 looks terrible.
I have bad feelings about that game.
I've got a terrible feeling
this
about
week.
it.
Crackdown 3. Okay, let me tell you something. I've bashed Crackdown 3 a lot, and the Xbox dudes hate that I did that. But I called this months and months ago when everybody was talking about how this game was coming this year. I was like one of the first ones within that community to tell them, hey guys, there's a problem here. This game is not coming out when they say it is because that multiplayer is broke.
Yep.
And this is before a lot of the news shit came out. And I've got videos on this, and people were like coming to me saying, man, you're the Oracle, man. You've guessed it. No, it's just that I saw the writing on the fucking wall. This game, there was problems with this game from the get. This game has been in development for how many fucking years?
Yeah, and we haven't seen much of it.
And we saw one tech demo, because that's what it was. It was a tech demo of the multiplayer, where it was just shooting up the environment in one little area. And I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't tell me that this game is ready, guys. And that was shown to us over 2 years ago. I said, there is problems here, guys. And people gave me so much shit, Enrique. They were like, you're just a pony. You're talking shit.
You're a hater.
Game's going to be here. Yeah. And then when that came out, that it was delayed, everybody came to me apologizing. Oh, you were right. You're right. You're the Oracle. How'd you know?
Well, I mean, B-Money in chat, he says, I told you there was something wrong with the game, and he did. And a lot of people have said that. And did you guys know that a few Microsoft executives unfollowed Rant because of his criticisms of the footage?
I remember that he got a lot of heat from
he had actual Microsoft employees unfollow him, and he was like, "That's fine." He was like, "But I'm not going to stop telling the truth." And this game does not look good. Like, it doesn't look good. And I mean, that show. And the other thing is that showing it had with all those comedians playing it and cracking jokes at it, not a good showing for the game. I'm like, why would you do this? Like,
let me say a couple of things though about Crackdown 3. The tech demo they showed where they're shooting up the environments and stuff. That stuff looked cool as hell. Okay, like I there was things that were being done in that little tech demo that I haven't seen before in a game as far as destruction and everything in the environment. And if there was going to be a multiplayer based game on that, based on that, what we saw there, and they made that a reality and a big, huge map, I would be happy with it.
Jay, someone called you Pony Relly.
Yeah, but the thing is like, you know, I don't think that's ever coming because number one, they base this all in the cloud, and I think that that's where the problem lies, is the cloud, because all we've heard about and all we've ever heard is about the cloud. We've never seen it realized. We've just heard about it, and you've noticed the past year or so, you've stopped hearing about the cloud.
Because
and
it was fucking ridiculous.
And the Crackdown 3 thing, that's what it's based on. That whole destructibility is based on the cloud, and I think that's where the problem lies. But that whole situation with the multiplayer, if they were able to realize that in the game, and I would love that. But if you look at the campaign itself and you compare the first Crackdown game, compare it, watch back to back Crackdown 3 campaign to the first game. Yes, Crackdown 3 looks better, but the animations look exactly the fucking same. Like there's so much about it that looks identical to the first game that there's not enough change there to make me think that this is a new game. It looks like old Crackdown with some fresh visuals.
With Terry Crews.
Exactly. And so I did a joke thing on my channel where I was playing what was that game? It was kind of like Crackdown, but it was Saints Row 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had made Terry Crews in Saints Row 4, and I tried to get him to look just like Terry Crews in Crackdown. And I put this little suit on him, made the colors just like Terry Crews was in Crackdown. And I'm running around and I'm doing all kinds of crazy shit. And I had people thinking I was playing Crackdown on my channel, Crackdown 3. Seriously? I was telling people, this is Crackdown 3. And they were looking at it. And some people were dumb enough to say, it looks really good. And I'm like, this is...
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just, it's funny to me that all you got to do is look at the first Crackdown. The animations are exactly the fucking same. Like, there's hardly any difference there at all.
So after this game got delayed for the umpteenth time, I had asked some questions about people to people who know about this kind of stuff, and the reason it was delayed is precisely because that cloud-based multiplayer that they have been touting just wasn't fucking working well.
It wasn't working, yeah.
It just was not coming together the way that they needed it to, and from what I've heard, they're still having a tough time. I think they oversold on this game. I think they showed it way too early.
I think I don't think it's going to make it to release.
No. I disagree there. It'll release. I mean, it fucking has to release. It has to. I mean,
that's what everybody's saying, yeah. But I have some doubts. I have doubts.
Microsoft, I don't think so. So that's interesting. So it sounds like both you guys are thinking it might not release at all.
I just got a bad feeling about it. I don't know why.
Either this is my feeling on this whole situation. It'll either release or that multiplayer will not be what they promised.
Oh, I guarantee it won't. Here's the thing: it's not going to be what they promised.
Okay, there you go. Then it's going to be dead on arrival.
I don't think it's going like even if it does. So I do think it'll release. I think it fucking has to. I don't think Microsoft can afford another canceled first party game. I don't think they can. But then they're kind of caught in Sophie's choice, right? Like, do they release what I am sure is going to be a 5 out of 10, or do they release, or do they just cancel it?
And Shannon Loftis yelling at reviewers.
Yeah, and I feel like Microsoft is in a really, really tough place with Crackdown 3.
Yeah, it's funny though. Before they announced the delay, this was like 2 weeks before they announced it. This is the weird thing. I was in a party with Phil Spencer, and I talked to him for like 2 hours. And the one question I asked him, I said, "Hey Phil," I said, "what game are you looking forward to most this year?" And he said, he paused for a minute, and then he goes, "Crackdown 3." And then 2 weeks later, they canceled. They canceled they delayed it.
That's kind of odd for him to say that.
Very odd. So no, in a way it's not, because we've seen him do this with Scalebound. They pushed this game like it was coming out, and then just all of a sudden it was canceled. And I think that, to me, it tells me that they make spur of the moment decisions, and that is not a good thing in business.
And that's a huge difference between them and Sony, by the way.
Yeah, to make a judgment call like that, like right away, like you're all pumped about this game coming out, and 2 weeks later, all of a sudden it's delayed. And with Scalebound, it was all systems ago. With this game is coming, and then all of a sudden it was canceled. That is, I made videos on this kind of stuff too. Like the fact that they make these rash decisions like right away, like it's weird.
Well, and leading into 2018, this is another problem that Microsoft has. And I know fanboys listen to this podcast, and I'm sure they'll be unhappy with me, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I'm a pony tonight, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll get shit. But here's the thing. Next year for Sony, we have Days Gone. God of War comes out early 2018. Spider-Man hits next year.
Can't wait.
And again, I'm going to buy it, but I am very unhappy that Spider-Man is a third-party exclusive. I do not support third-party exclusivity. I don't. I never will. It's anti-consumer. I'm still going to buy the game because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. But there it is. Just had to speak on that. But you've got these three games. You've got. Sony already has a Shadow of the Colossus remake, which looks fucking amazing.
I just want to say yes.
Monster Hunter Worlds. This is shaping up to be another very, very good year for Sony. And look, what does Xbox have? We know this. We know there's not another Halo coming out next year because we'd already know about it. They're not good. Microsoft is not the company that announces their games and has it come out 5 months later. They're not. So I'm sure Halo 6 will get announced next year at E3, but it's not going to be it'll be a 2019 game. There's not going to be another God of War coming next year. Right now, what we know about is Crackdown 3, Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2.
Yeah.
None of which is going to fucking hold the candle to any of the PlayStation titles I just mentioned.
Yeah, you're right.
Are they not releasing Forza Horizon this year or next year?
No.
Wow.
Forza Horizon, matter of fact, Forza Horizon 4 is going to be released in 2019. They're working on it now, and they're also working on a patch for Horizon 3 to come out next year for the X.
And like all the stuff we just mentioned, like I don't care how big a fan you are. If you are willing to just hand wave that away and say it's not a problem, then you've got blinders on, because I think Microsoft has a huge problem next year.
That's a huge. It's funny. I'm telling you, John. I get so much shit for mentioning this a lot.
Of course.
And I'm just
anytime you talk badly about these companies,
I get like shit. DM. Oh, you talk about. We all know Microsoft's problem. You don't have to talk about it on every podcast, Enrique. I'm just like, look, it's an issue.
Well,
and I'm going to talk about it.
Well, and they're obviously listening. This is a problem. Now, could there be games that we don't know about? Yeah, it's unlikely. But because E3 is in June, and aside from Bethesda, Microsoft is not going to announce a Halo and then release it in E3 2018 and then release it that fall. They're not going to do that.
So, John, let me ask you something, because Jay and I talked about this earlier this evening. Phil Spencer announcing that they're going to invest in first-party studios and acquire studios. What do you think? Do you think that's actually going to happen, or do you?
I think that tweet was taken out. I think that was taken out of context. I think he's talking about stuff like Minecraft. I don't think. If you're asking me, do I think we're going to see Halo on PS4? No. And welcome home, Master Chief, to PlayStation 4. I don't think that's going to happen.
Do you think we'll see like new AAA IPs, or are we going to see more like Ori type games?
I think you're going to see more. I think you're going to see games as a service from Microsoft, because that's where the money is.
Yep.
That's where the money is. And here's the thing. Those games, like Fonz very astutely pointed out, are not selling. They're selling on PlayStation. Horizon Zero Dawn is a huge success. The Last of Us is going to be a huge success. Uncharted 4 was a huge sales success.
Mm-hmm.
God of War 4 is going to be a fucking success. I think Days Gone is probably going to perform well. Games like Nier and Nier Automata and Nioh, they performed well.
Hellblade did pretty well.
Hellblade did well. Hellblade is a fucking fantastic game. These games are performing well. Each one of them have made a profit. None of them have underperformed. And you can't say the same about those style of games on Xbox. I don't know what it is about those games and Xbox, but they don't sell, and that's not a fanboy thing to say. I mean, it's right there. The sales numbers are right there.
No,
Like
numbers don't lie. Yeah,
it's not.
You can't deny it.
I think though it's basically what they've been exposed to for many years, and again, it's the shooter genre and that sort of thing, and they're not really into that sort of stuff. But going forward, me and Enrique were both sort of in agreement that investing in all these first party companies and titles or whatever they're going to do, it's probably going to be more the indie or AA games going forward.
Yeah, I agree. And like it boggles my mind, right? Because I mean, you've got a developer as talented as Rare. I mean, Rare. I mean, they made GoldenEye 64. I mean, they made Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, Rare used to be so incredibly talented, and Perfect Dark, and you've got them working on fucking Sea of Thieves, a fucking pirate MMO that's not going to sell well.
they had them working on Connect for a long time too.
Yeah, I mean, Connect. Like, I mean, Rare could be a force again. I mean, take that studio, get them off the fucking stupid pirate MMO, put some money into them. And
look. Here's the thing: you may not like Sea of Thieves. I don't like it. I know I won't like it, but I've heard from a lot of people that they are in the beta and they really do like it. They genuinely think it's a great game.
Oh no!
We'll see if it sells.
Great. I think it's gonna be great. I just don't think it's gonna sell. I mean, I don't think there's a market for a pirate MMO, not on console.
No.
It's such an odd choice.
It is odd. It is odd. It's very odd.
And maybe there's something. I mean, like I don't want anybody to be fired, but maybe it's not the best position for Shannon Loftis. I don't know. I mean, it's not something like if I was an Xbox executive, knowing and I knew that audience, it's not something that I would have greenlit. I would have said, well, what else do we have? I mean, like you could, pump money into them and turn them into your own Naughty Dog. Come up with something other than a fucking pirate MMO. Like,
I know quite a few guys that they bought the console for Scalebound alone.
Oh shit, that's terrible.
And they're very vocal here on YouTube too, and they'll even say it. I bought the console expecting Scalebound, and then they cancel it, and I'm like, God, that sucks. I was looking forward to that game too.
It sucks too because they used to take so many chances, creative chances, and they used to bring so many different types of games to their consoles. The 360, the OG Xbox. I keep telling people like Ninja Gaiden was an exclusive to the Xbox at one point. I mean, think about that.
And Scalebound was one of those chances, man. They were taking, and they looked like it was a promising game, and then all of a sudden, bye. Like it was out of nowhere too. Because don't you remember all the commercials and everything? They were playing that thing like it was coming out, and then all of a sudden it was just done. And
same thing with Fable. Fable was in the greatest games lineup of Xbox history. Remember that?
Oh God, that was. Yeah. I remember that. This is the greatest games lineup in Xbox history. It's a fucking remaster of Gears of War, and a canceled game, and a cross-gen game, and a racing game. I was like, oh come on, Here's the thing. Microsoft has this entire generation. They've had a marketing issue, right? Like Don Matrick didn't help. Like Don Matrick, he single-handedly almost killed the fucking brand. So I'm glad he did. And then he went over to Zynga and he almost fucking killed Zynga. Wow. So he's not a good businessman. He's not a good brand man. I'm glad he's gone. I have a healthy amount of respect for Phil Spencer. I've talked with him offline. One of the fans of our podcast, he was in the hospital at the beginning of the year for a bone marrow transplant, and he sent him a care package. So Phil Spencer's a fucking classy guy, and
yeah, he.
I just want him. I want Xbox to perform as well as it possibly can, because the gaming landscape is stronger with 3 viable consoles as opposed to 2.
Yep.
And I certainly don't want any company to have a fucking monopoly over anything.
I want Sega back. Damn it! Bring me back Sega.
I want Atari to come back.
Bro,
they're coming out with a new console, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be garbage.
but Sega back in the day, even their consoles that didn't do well, which was many of them, I bought all of them, and honestly, I loved all of them, especially the Dreamcast. That was my favorite.
The Dreamcast was a really good console.
Oh, Dreamcast was
but it bombed pretty much though. So.
Yeah. It was
awesome.
They made a bunch of boneheaded decisions, though.
It was way ahead of its time, man. That Dreamcast was just amazing. You got online with it. You had the little VMUs and the controllers. Oh my god, dude!
Yep, I remember those.
Yep,
amazing, dude.
Online play
stuff. Whatever happened to that? Why don't they have little screens, little things in our controllers to where we can like use them? You know, and it's phenomenal. Like. Playing sports games and stuff, you don't have to pick your plays on the TV screen. And if you're playing couch co-op, it's just
that was huge. That was a huge feature for NFL 2K.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a huge selling point for that.
Yep.
And it was actually cool because you could call plays without anyone looking at.
Yep. And you brought up NFL 2K, man. God, I wish that would make a comeback.
Get mad and run for its money.
No. I want NFL Blitz to come back.
That's fun for an arcade.
And I love that arcade. But yeah, honestly, like that, I don't know. The best football game ever is still Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, Tecmo Bowl.
100-yard touchdown. Oh, it's so good.
I'll go even further back. 10-yard fight.
Oh my goodness, I remember 10-yard fight.
Tick 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 tick.
I remember playing.
Yep.
I remember playing the first Metal Gear on the NES. Ugh.
Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Dude, we could ramble on for days on this shit, but we're going way over 2 hours here talking about this.
I lost track of time. I actually, as we've been talking, I've been playing a little bit of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. So you guys are playing something. I'm in front of my computer just talking, and I'm like, okay, it's been a couple hours.
I have literally been playing these Assassin's Creed the entire time we've been talking.
Yeah, I'm going to pick it up based on recommendations from you two and Delilah and so many other people. So.
I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I mean, well, that's not true. I did pick up Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I played a little bit of that, but I haven't really played Assassin's Creed since Black Flag.
Yeah, PSN down said, yeah, I left and came back. He's like, you're still on.
And I actually do need to get going because I gotta get up. I'm going to play some basketball with my boys.
Nice.
But I may be 37, but I'm still fit as fuck. So yeah, I know. I just I saw you podcasting, and I was like, I'm sitting here playing Assassin's Creed. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I want it on that.
Nice, man.
But yeah, no. Well, I mean, somebody's got to make this shit interesting. So but hey, Fonz, second time on a podcast with you, man, dude. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, man. Likewise.
And Enrique, it's always a pleasure. You're a classy guy.
Yeah, likewise, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And if anybody in chat hasn't, please head over to our channel, Superform Gamescast on YouTube. Give us a sub. Check out our videos. If you like them, give him a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give him a thumbs down.
Give them all a thumbs down.
Give them all a thumbs down. That's fine. Get us more views. That's what I care about. You don't have to agree with us. And if you watch the episode where we talk about our best 100 games of all time, you probably won't agree with us. But now it's such a dumpster fire. But I think that's what makes us endearing is that we're a terrible podcast. But anyway, guys, gentlemen, have a good night. And yep. And everybody in chat, be good to each other, please.
No doubt, man.
Yeah, man, it was definitely a good time.
Yeah,
to everybody in the chat,
right.
Bro.
We could talk more about games, man, and we could just go on and on.
Yeah, dude. Especially you're getting into a subject that's near and dear to my heart when it comes to retro games and stuff. Like, man, I have so many memories. I don't own any of the retro consoles anymore. Like, it's funny to call it retro because to me that it was just consoles. I grew up with that shit. But man, all those games back in the day just bring back so many memories. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I said, John's like, what, you play Metal Gear? Like, that's the first Metal Gear was on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yes. And it was very awkward, man. Like that game was very awkward.
Yeah, it was top down. I mean, it wasn't,
Yep.
it's funny. Like I hear people, criticize, like I heard this more recently with Sony games. Oh, they all look alike, right? You know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I keep saying to people, yeah, I mean, there may be certain elements and there's some familiarity there, but the mechanics, the gameplay, the mechanics of the games play very differently.
Yeah, when they tell me, all Sony games look the same, or no, they say all Sony games are the same. I usually tell them what? Very compelling story, awesome gameplay. Yeah, I agree. And it pisses them off, but
yeah, I mean, the only concern I have is if they go back to the well too much,
yeah,
but they are making some, compelling stories. I mean, or games. I mean, they just are. But you saw some of that though. That's not uncommon. I mean, I think about Metal Gear, kind of that top-down game, and Zelda was like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just it's an industry that borrows a lot, from success, and
most
mimics
definitely,
other
man.
products or games that have been successful.
Yeah,
That's always been the
definitely.
case in the gaming industry.
And what we're seeing right now is just between Sony and Xbox, we have two different companies with totally different ideas on where they're headed. Well, no, I take that back, because Sony has mentioned that they are looking into more service-based games as well. It's how they implement those in their games. I'm
Yeah.
interested in seeing in the future, but hopefully they're not too intrusive. And I'm just hoping for the best, because right now gaming for me is still big, and I
Mhm.
don't want it to get crushed by some of the bullshit going on now.
No, man, I hear you. And that's why I get frustrated, man. Before you wrap up, I just want to say one more thing. That's why I get frustrated when people are focused on like harassing, developers or journalists over reviews.
Yeah.
'Cause those things are very insignificant when you think big picture. You think about other things you should be paying attention to that can impact you. Really, I mean, seriously, have a negative impact on you as a gamer. Look at net neutrality. That could impact you as a gamer.
Yes.
That's something you should, read up on, focus on, and voice your opinion on.
Yep. Yep.
We talk about microtransactions. That's something else too.
Well, look at what the companies are doing now. The internet companies, they're all getting data caps and shit. Like,
Yep.
that impacts us big time. Like right now, I'm having to spend another $50 a month just to have unlimited freaking internet service, because if not, I'm going over that terabyte service every damn month.
Oh my God, man.
Like my whole family, we game, we
Yeah.
stream everything, because we don't have cable. Because cable's way too expensive. That's another story. But these internet bills are just outrageous, and they know they could do this to us because we've got all this stuff now. We've got Netflix, we've got freaking games, we've got all this stuff online, and it's crazy. All these companies go hand in hand, man. But they're making behind closed deals and stuff. They're coming up with all this shit to fucking nickel and dime us at the end of the day. I'm convinced of it, man. They're all in cahoots.
They're all in cahoots. Yeah.
They really are. They really are.
Yeah. No, they definitely are.
But man, it's been a pleasure though, Enrique. Thank you for having me on again. Seriously,
Absolutely, man. My pleasure.
I love it, man. It's awesome. You guys are good people. Guys, everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out, man, because it's awesome to talk with some people here. And I find that sometimes there'll be a lot of guys that are subscribed to me already and have been subscribed to me for a while. And it's like, okay, Enrique, cool, because, you're a good dude. So it's nice to see that the community, not just people who make content, but these people that watch and support the content. These are the people that make it happen, really, honestly.
Mhm.
It's amazing to see some of the same people over and over. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I mean, I've seen some of these people and different podcasts that I follow and watch too. So, want to thank you guys who have been following us and have subbed and spent the last couple hours listening to us rant too. So, big shout out to everyone in the live chat. And hey, I'll be back on next Wednesday at 9 p.m. But if some more things drop over the next 24 to 48 hours, I may do another rant. I wasn't expecting to do one so soon. I did one this morning.
Yes, you did.
So, and then I did the unboxing video. So, but Yeah, Jay, no, it's always a pleasure, man. And like I said, we got to get you and Colt back on together. Got to do another podcast, man.
Definitely. It'd be a crazy one.
Yeah, no, it'd be good times, man. Definitely good times. So, all right, man. Let's go ahead and wrap up. I know it's late here on my side of the coast, and big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Remember to hit that like button too, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Remember, we'll be giving away a free PlayStation 4 for the holidays. Compliments of our good buddy Chicken Spaghetti, and during the holidays, we'll probably be doing some other giveaways too, some games. So definitely keep an eye out for that. So on that note, we'll catch you guys next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for watching again. Everyone have a great rest of the evening.
Peace.